Well, we are technically live. We're just transitioning to the main game, and oh my gosh, all of chat came in at once. Ah!
Boom.
On my window, it's just like, ah.
Surprise! We're here, Mr. Wee Dude. What are your commands? Abolish the middle class. Excellent.
Boy.
My goal has been achieved.
Alright. Well, anyway, guys, hello, and welcome to a little bit of a special stream today. We're going to be looking at the Mega Man Zero ZX Legacy Collection that just released earlier this week. Capcom was kind enough to give me a review copy that the video will be going up pretty soon. I have pretty much my script done and ready to go. I'm just recovering from my cold before I record the audio, but so yeah, this is interesting for me because I've never really tried this series out. I've heard of the Zero games a lot, and I've heard them talk about a lot. Never gotten the chance to really play them, so this collection's my main exposure to them.
I mean, even as a single reference point, you're friends with Quarter Guy. You clearly would have heard something at some point just by following his content.
Yeah. So, we're gonna be sampling throughout this, looking at all the content. The only thing I want to make an announcement for, we got a little bit of a quick video to play before we head into the main thing, so...
No.
Ba-boom!
That's so cool.
What the hell's going on?
Why you look so nervous?
You know a lot about killing.
But I promise, I'm not a bad guy.
Quiet, you male! Learn some manners, why don't you?
What do they want with us?
Who's the culprit? Who? I didn't do
That's
it!
pretty much a lie.
We have fallen.
Shut it, you weirdos!
Despair takes everything from people.
Did you want to die?
Gonta can't take it anymore!
Stop! Please stop! We've gotta work together to find the mastermind. Then we can end this killing game.
Yeah! Finally!
Danganronpa V3 is going to be starting this Saturday. Since that is spring break, I will have plenty of time to be able to get that thing all going. I know people have to wait forward to that. But, yeah. So, anyway. Okay, let's dive in now to Mega Man. Fighting for this stream, yes. That's what we are indeed fighting for.
Yes.
Okay, so the most... Sorry.
One thing to clarify, this isn't technically the same Zero from the X series, or is it the same one? Or...
It is the same Zero, yes.
Okay,
is it like same mind, different body?
Basically, I think.
Kind of, yeah.
So yeah, to go over just some of the quick stuff before we dive into the actual games that the collection has, for one. For all the Zero games, you can access their Japanese versions as per kind of standard with these collections, though that also means you get the blood splatters that were taken out of the English version.
No, it's oil. There's a difference.
Might as well be
very,
blood.
very red oil.
Might as well be blood.
I know, right?
Because, considering there aren't many humans.
And then, for anybody curious with 0, 3, and 4, all of their e-reader content is provided in the game, so don't worry about that if you're curious about it. You can get all the e-reader cards throughout here. Same thing with
I don't
Mega
think it
Man
was a
ZX.
part of 04, was it? I know it was predominantly with 3, but I don't remember anything with 4.
I think it might also be with 4.
E-reader cards? What are you talking about?
So...
It was a Japanese thing.
Yeah, basically, Japan had this thing for the Game Boy Advance called the e-reader, where you collect cards, scan them into the game, and you would get rewards with them and stuff like that.
A lot of stuff didn't make it to the West.
Didn't we have something similar?
They tried it for a little bit in America, and they learned it didn't work. So, yeah, so a lot of e-reader content went missing. That's why it's kind of a big deal in these re-releases. Like, for example, Mario Bros. 3 GBA, when that came to Virtual Console, they actually included all the e-reader content, which was kind of a big deal. But
there's also a similar thing with the Battle Network collections, or not collections, but the games. When they came to the Wii U Virtual Console, they included all the multiplayer and event-exclusive battle chips, including some that are horrifically broken. So, you know.
Yeah.
Nothing quite like starting up the game with your basic ass Mega Man and it's like, all right, I'm gonna drop a nuke on this fucking basic enemy.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Now, concerning this game, what do the e-reader cards give you?
Basically, different kind of weapons and stuff like that. or
Not
modifiers
really.
to the game.
There's some visual modifiers. They introduce NPCs into some areas where you can have conversations with them, and they're like actually legacy characters from the past 2 games. There's a lot of like items you get, just some supplies and stuff. It's a lot of minor things that are just kind of neat.
And then also for Mega Man ZX, they also include the 03 and 04 link system. So basically, since these games were for the DS, if you had Mega Man 0, 3, or 4 in the GBA slot, you would get some extra boss battles and stuff like that.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so they include that content in here as well. So
Which I've been waiting for a while because I've always wanted to
yeah,
fight
so
those
that
bosses.
it's
on
really cool that they do have all that content
ZX.
in.
There's a lot of
And
neat
for
things.
these games, you have a lot of different versions. You have English, French, Italian, German, Spanish, and Japanese versions of the ZX game.
Where's the
Wow.
alien language?
I think the big thing is mostly with ZXA, since that game is almost entirely voice acted.
Yeah.
And most PAL versions didn't have that voice acting present because they weren't necessarily being given to or distributed to English speakers.
Yeah. The only thing is that if you haven't played it before, brace yourself because Advent I was sampling earlier. Woo boy, that voice acting.
It does not
Oh yeah, no, the dub.
well.
The dub.
The dub
I hear
ain't
is
good.
bad.
It's not good.
Mega Man seems to have
It
a
is
thing with
definitely
voice.
of the era.
Yeah, but what is kind of cool with the cutscenes and audio, since FMVs on the DS were like super compressed and stuff like
yeah,
that, they
no, that's
actually
what-
included the full raw videos and sound files for the re-releases, which is kind of cool. Not
I'm
gonna
more
lie.
surprised. I'm more surprised that still exists in their possession to give to us.
Yeah, you figured they would just render it out the one time for these kind of games and then never touch it again.
Hey man, don't look to give towards the mouse. We got it, and they look cool.
Yeah, and then for the games, they have 2 main modifiers to each game at this point. They have casual scenario mode, which I believe this did exist in the DS collection.
Yes, in a form.
Yeah, but in the DS collection, it was you had like a superpower 0 that you could take through all 4 games in one kind of save file. Though in this game, they have it separated. So basically, you can play the game from the start as a fully powered up 0, right from the beginning. So you have that. Probably the more interesting one is Save Assist mode, where basically they have a bunch of checkpoints now throughout the levels that you'll run into, and then when you die, you won't lose any lives. You have unlimited continues, basically, and you just keep going from that spot, pretty much.
So I assume because of the way that the save system worked originally, that's what made the Zero series hard.
The Zeros were still built like your classic Mega Man levels. There were certainly checkpoints, mostly for bosses and mini bosses. But yeah, no, they were just usually a lot longer and a lot harder, or at least they felt longer, especially because of how fast Zero moves.
Yeah, so I think Save Assist is actually a really smart idea. I don't think it modifies the game too much from its original intent, so...
No.
And a lot of people I do hear say, like, no, for 0-1, put this system on.
Oh,
like,
it is a jank game. You can tell that they're still figuring out what they want to do with this one.
Okay, and I
Yeah.
guess like my last question before we go into, I assume, the first game. How much is the collection right now since it came out? Is it like 60 or 40?
$30.
Oh, 30?
Yeah, so
Oh, all right.
6 games, $30,
I can
not too
confirm
bad.
because I just bought the PS4 version.
I can buy
Yeah.
5 burritos with that.
Yeah.
Quarter guy, no, this is the digital review copy they gave me, for,
Yeah.
for
That
it,
seems to be
just my
easier to
partner
do.
Screenwave. No, they all give out, physical ones, but then, the other stuff that you have in the collection, a music player with every single track, from
Got
each
some-
game,
got some
as
good
well
ass
as
tracks in there.
the Legacy Collection exclusive tracks, which are also fantastic.
Mhm.
Stuff like that. My only complaint is that some stuff like the vocal tracks that we finally get in this collection, you can't get the raw audio versions, so like they're kind of compressed and stuff like that. That's my one issue with them, but oh well.
Maybe they didn't have the audio for those.
Maybe.
It's possible.
Quite possible.
It's like something similar. It's like something similar with the Blu-ray release of Neon Genesis. For some reason, for episode 16, they didn't have the masters anymore, so they had to take the episode that they have and upscale it to the best of their ability.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Also, Prankster, what do you mean no remix Cannonball? It's in ZX.
Another thing about the audio in this collection that's a great plus is that it is using all the audio from the DS collection where they used new samples for the music and stuff like that, so it sounds a lot better than the GBA sound for the Zero part of the collection.
Also, go to number 20 on the Zero for art.
On 01?
Yeah.
Hello there.
That
I'll always be here. You will never escape me.
That is a devil.
That was wow. That was supposed to be wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And guess what? He is not nearly as bad as the yellows and the like.
Okay.
He's a lot more fair.
You will never ever escape me. I will always be there to hound you behind every corner.
But yeah, so you have the gallery mode, of course, from each game. It's kind of cool that there's kind of like the sketch art versions of each of the promotional art.
Yeah, see how they are actually building it up with the artist for the game, which was Toru Nakayama.
Yeah.
When it comes to
this stuff is kind of cool. This stuff is kind of cool to see and stuff like that.
When it comes to the design of Zero, like, man, they really
slimmed him down.
They really slimmed him down.
Thin.
Like,
Yeah.
They really went for, lack of a better term, more anime with the Zero series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, you know, every version of in this timeline, it's just like more and more anime as we go down the line.
Yeah.
They also,
like kind of thing.
they also gave all the characters like really big irises.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like their one eyeball. We have irises. You nitty, you dope. The only like Zero has like a big iris, but you can still see like there's still an eyeball there. Other characters, no, it's just the iris.
In 22XX, everyone will be anime. You're right.
It's all inevitability.
Yeah.
We'll all look Moe, whether we want to or not.
I'd
Life
to
is just
actually
one
point something out.
Sadly, this collection does. Oh my god! Wow, I forgot. In some of these, they actually have like boss artwork and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah,
This shit is cool.
Yeah, they had like full murals dedicated to the three guardians that you fight in this game.
This one is sick.
Wow.
Which one? The green one?
Yeah.
Hapuya's is fucking rad. And similar to the promotional arts, you can see them building these designs later.
God, some of these guys just look like JRPG villain like in this art.
Yeah, Ellipsos definitely goes that way.
This is Capcom, alright?
Yeah, definitely Capcom art.
Yeah.
Like I always love looking through Capcom art galleries and stuff like that. Because a lot of the promotional art you get in these kind of games are really cool.
The fact that we have art for every basic enemy too, like that's what's really surprising. Like not just bosses.
I was kind of surprised by how much there was for
like
them
so far this collection, as far as like all the like the extra stuff they added, it seems like really rad.
Yeah, the only things that I would say that I'm a little disappointed in compared to like say the X collection is that there's not a lot of product line or trailer stuff outside of the gallery.
I would have I would have expected a lot more trailer stuff for this, especially with ZX.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Oh wait, Brandon, why would you rather use the save assist for the ZX games?
They're lengthy. Like you have to, because they're Metroidvania-like. You have to actually go to where the zone starts, and then you start the stage, which means you effectively have to do double the trek to restart a stage if you life out.
Oh god, I love 03's art.
Oh
03's
yeah,
art is
there's a
like-
reason this was
like-
used as the basis for the Zero collection.
Yeah, like this art is so sick.
Yeah.
It is the same artist, right?
Oh yeah, no,
I
it
think-
was Nakayama for the entire Zero series. I don't know if they switched over for the ZX series. I can look it up, but he was definitely consistent through the Zero series.
I like that.
Yeah, like a lot of this art, I love the shading, use of light framing on this
Yeah.
stuff. Looks so cool.
If you want to check out an artist, Tommy Kays, he actually emulates this art style very well, and I recommend it if you're a fan of it and Mega Man art, fan art in general.
Oh wait, that sounds really familiar. I think I actually know. I think I actually follow him.
It's quite possible.
Two deviant art.
Yeah, they got a lot for 03 on here because it's probably the fan favorite.
It was
for
technically
most
supposed to
people.
be the finale.
Oh, it was supposed to be the finale?
Yeah, but then they realized, oh wait, our main antagonist is still alive.
Oh, we gotta do something about that.
Whoops.
We should probably finish that off.
Should probably kill that guy.
Yeah, oh, wait, hang on, me to fix that.
Yeah, I hear Dr. Vile's a bastard throughout
yeah.
this entire series.
Yeah, Vile is his Japanese name. Weil, or I don't know how to fucking pronounce it, is his English name, and the only reason is because Vile exists in the X series and they didn't want confusion.
Oh,
At this
dang.
point, fuck
Makes
it.
sense.
Vile is it's just you say Vile. It's much easier.
Yeah.
Brandon, that's next week.
Later. Danganronpa's later. Now it's Mega Man Zero.
Listen,
time.
I love that little shit, but not right now.
Yeah, yeah, they had a
God,
lot of
there's a
stuff
lot
for
of sketch-
X3.
there's
Like,
a lot of sketches. Then what's
Lot-
weird is that Mega Man that 04's got like the least amount of art in this collection.
yeah, it's kind of
kinda
weird.
weird.
You can see a lot of like the basis for it in the unused bosses for the X or for 03. Because a lot of these are like, yeah, you can see some of them that was like, oh yeah, this one got used for this, but like you see a bunch of these other ones, like these have gone completely unused. Some of them got recreated for 03 or 04. But yeah, there's just a lot of designs that they were tossing around for their final boss lineup.
Yeah.
Also, I'm having war flashbacks with looking at all the stuff from 04. Some of these guys have some rough patterns.
Not
Oh,
again.
Or I just
boy.
suck.
Explode.
Could be both.
Yeah, then ZX radically different art style
Mhm.
for these games. A lot more cutesy.
The fact that they were also given animation cutscenes definitely probably meant that they were built a bit more for that.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. What the?
It's like I like this design of Zero, kind of thing. It's just that I don't know, maybe just something about the like I don't know what it is. Something just always feels a little weird to me about it.
Mhm.
Like I can't quite put my finger on it.
I would probably assume that this is a different artist because of the fact that
Yeah.
it's like it's more of an emulation of the style rather than
I
just
kind
doing
of like
it.
Zero here, just like ah.
Super Saiyan
Not
with the
technically
flashing
zero,
lights.
but we'll get into that.
Okay.
All right, you're right. It's not technically zero. Crap.
Can you tell I'm a newbie to this part?
Actually, if you play the game, you know that it's not zero. It is actually
It was actually X the whole time.
X's spirit was remained inside that single little piece of.
Well, I know of the Alphen Core and shit like that.
Yeah, the
for
Dark Elf and all that.
Zero series, yeah.
It is a rock, not rock, a rock.
I've been on DeviantArt for a very specific purpose, and then I got lost in all my DeviantArt.
When you're going online to look up something, but you just end up scrolling through Twitter.
Yeah, this one's cool.
Okay, I think I found. I think Stefan, is this the artist? I posted it in the Discord chat.
That's actually another one who actually does a very comparable style. Ultimate Maverick X is another one. Him and Tommy Kays are the two big ones that really emulated Nakayama's style.
This background art is really cool looking.
Yeah.
Like some of the environment design and stuff like that.
Yeah, I never really got to check this stuff out, and I really like the background design aspects that they were, or not aspects, but concepts that they were working with.
Yeah.
Like, see outside the stages.
Mhm. I think they just free uses are for both in both ZX and ZX admin for the calorie. That's kind of weird.
They edged them up because that character is a 3-year time skip between ZX and ZXA.
Yeah.
So they probably took the same thing and just modified some proportions.
Probably, wouldn't be surprised. More background art. If there's one thing I'll compliment ZX on is that this background art stuff is really damn cool.
Yeah.
Is there like more artwork here than in the ZX collections? I mean, just the X collections. I mean?
They didn't have the gallery for the Zero collections.
But for
They were on
I'm
a
not
DS.
sure, like,
they were much more limited.
but like compared to the X collection, there's not as much, just because this was a smaller part of the franchise. So
Yeah, it is
okay,
only
that
2 games, and yeah.
yeah, and now
And
the stuff
original
made
art.
for this collection. I still love this box art and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. I'd actually like to
Yeah.
bring your attention to 10 and 11.
It's a 10 and 11. Okay. Oh yeah, like the darker Zero here.
So this is a little bit of trivia for you. The number 11 was a cross-promotion art piece for the Battle Network games, which featured a weapon that was based off of Zero's saber. But it was always in this dark one, and it was supposed to be like, it's so ambiguous. Is it Zero? Like, I can't really tell. It's like everyone's like, it's clearly
It's
fucking Zero.
but
but now they finally they kind of redrew the art and gave us a clear version of it in the style of 10.
Alright.
cool.
So
You
we
mean
can
it's only
finally
blue?
see, yeah, we can finally see what the art is like, clearly with a new shade of paint because this is way too clean for back then. But we finally get to see what that art was like, and it's present in I think all but one of the Mega Man Battle Network games.
Cool.
But that does actually raise a question. Do you think that they'll do a Mega Man a collection for Battle Network and Legends?
I think Battle Network
Inevitably.
is probably gonna. I think Battle Network
Legends
is gonna be the
is
next
a bit
one.
more up in the air because it's only 2 games, 3 if you
Yeah,
want to include the
yeah.
trombone spin-off.
That's why I'd say I think Battle Network's the next one, just because it feels like the easiest collection for them to do.
Yeah.
Especially because it's still working on a hardware of
If-
comparable to the
If they
Zero
were
series.
to do a Legends one, I think include the 3, the main 2 games, the trombone one, and then maybe just for kicks, throw in the Mega Man 3 Legends 3 prototype.
Oh wow.
They might still have it, man. Also, this one feels like such an artist gallery pick, but I
Oh
love
yeah,
how-
this is absolutely fan art that they did.
But this is cool, so cool looking.
Oh yeah, no, you feel like you've seen this kind of everywhere on the internet around the era.
How
of
many
the Zero
Battle
series.
Network games are there again?
6 main ones, 2 spin-offs, and a remake.
And also, how many? There's like 3 Star Force games, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
But the
that
thing
the one
is,
you're currently looking at is the one that they used for the original Zero collection.
for the DS collection, which I love this one too.
Yeah.
I actually have the DS collection because that was when I really wanted to give the Zero series a shot. But playing 01, I just had a hard time getting into it.
Yeah,
It is a very rough
Zero
game.
One's a hard one. It's a rough starting point.
But going back to like a Battle Network collection, the only thing I wonder how they would handle is the fact that at some point for 4, I believe it was 3, 4, and 5, there were 2 versions of the same game, like
Yeah.
like how they do
Yeah,
with
that's
Pokemon.
where I'm wondering what they're gonna do at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be honest. I'm seriously considering booting up my Switch and buying this right now.
I gotta say, I think out of all the,
You told me it was
I
30
think out
bucks.
of
I just
all
went
of
30
the-
bucks.
I think out of all of the collections Mega Man's had, like, recently, I think this is probably overall the best done of them, I
Mhm.
think.
You can tell that they had the experience with the past ones.
Yeah. And plus the emulation is probably the best of them, too. And stuff
GPA's
like that,
always
so.
been pretty easy.
Patrick, stop.
Yeah.
Patrick, stop selling
Alright.
the game.
Well,
That's what we're here for.
It's
This is
almost like I got a review copy or something. Yeah, I don't know.
we're here
I
to
have
shill.
the- I
And guess
have
what?
the-
I'm gonna fucking shill Mega Man.
Well,
I have
I guess
the
one
money,
thing I
but-
can give a little criticism right here is through the stuff with filters, I think went backwards, honestly. You have
Yeah.
the filter one. You have the filter one here, which is what that kind of filter that like blends the pixels together.
No.
I always hate how that looks.
The
And then-
screenshot looks fine for how detailed Zero is, but yeah, I think just dealing with
I'll
the
show it in game
blocks.
and show why it doesn't.
I don't trust people who have
I'm
these
sure
as
it's worse in
default.
movement.
But Type 2 is the CRT one, and I think this one got way worse than it was in X. Because X, that was probably my preferred filter, honestly.
Mhm.
Just because it blended them just enough, kind of thing, to give the CRT illusion. This one is just like, they just put grain over the screen, and that's kind of all they do. You know,
Yeah.
it does not look good, so.
It's comparable to
No.
like some of the like cleaned up versions of like anime or cartoons where it's just like you guys just digitally modified over it and it just looks messy.
Yeah, I still remember
Yeah.
like the trailer for this game. All they were showing was like the one with the blended pixels. I'm like, oh wait, please change. And then they showed the other. I was like, oh, thank you.
And then the big gameplay thing to show off is Z Chaser, which is
Z
basically
Chaser.
basically
mode.
their equivalent of the X challenge for this game, but definitely a bit different than that.
It pulls back from Mega Man Zero 2, where they had a versus mode where you and another friend could play through stages and go against each other. And they weren't,
Yeah.
and unlike this, which is literally just taking stages from the actual games and having you just do them fast and good, they were actually like multiplayer stages that you'd run through.
By the way, Jason, are you on the eShop right now?
Yeah, Pat.
So-
they have local and single, and by extension online. Because if you do World Cup, it pairs you immediately with whoever's the best in the world.
Oh
And I
my
tried
God.
that. I tried that earlier. The dude had like a stage in like a minute.
So yeah, basically what this is, it will put you against a ghost on the bottom screen, and basically you two are racing in kind of quote-unquote real time through a stage throughout the entire series of either game.
Yeah, for all of them. And typically
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's just like, what stage do they determine is like an easy one and which one's the hard one? The hard one typically being one of the last stages in the game. I mean, hell, for the
Yeah.
X1, they literally give you the final level. Also, I'm having some flashbacks about this stage. This
Oh,
sure
the
was
spikes
fun
aren't
to do.
insta-kill.
That's because of the mode they're in.
Oh, so they're insta-kill normally.
Oh yeah,
Ah,
there's spikes in a Mega Man game. What do you expect?
I was
Yeah.
hopeful, dang it.
Yeah, I have not so fond memories of doing this stage perfect. Because I wanted that stupid 100 perfect score S rank achievement thing.
Give me flash.
Which is another thing.
Yeah,
these,
what-
these games are of the era of Devil May Cry and various Clover Studio-esque stuff. So it
Yeah.
has mission scoring.
Interesting.
And I think it was to the first game's detriment because it definitely put me off for most of it. Because
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
oh, I'm not doing good.
No,
Let's
this
not use items, not to use half like the features of the like cyber elves. So it just turns into just like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know.
then you learn to be fine with making mistakes and stuff. And it's like, okay, I can enjoy these more.
Dang, they don't have a health bar.
Fun fact: the enemy that Pat is currently fighting uses modified voice clips of the final boss of the first game.
Okay, see,
They're
my
mo-
theory is that
But what is nice about this mode as well is that if you die on the boss and get right back into the room, they'll have the same health as when you die.
Yeah,
so
it is all
Oh.
for the sake of
just meant
speed.
to
They don't
keep
want you to
going
spend
as
here
fast as
forever.
possible.
that sounds nice.
This is a fun
Yeah,
mode.
I
It's
got-
not right out of the games.
Yeah, like I think this mode has a little bit more staying power than the X challenge just because it's not bullshit.
Well, some of those boss matchups were just not built for each other, and some of them just had
Yeah.
patterns that overlapped horribly.
Yeah.
You fight fucking the Skyver in a fucking closed box in one of those fights.
So dumb. I hated that one so much.
Hey,
I've
Patrick, do
never
you
been able to do those on like a harder
Hey,
difficulty
hey,
than the base.
Yeah.
hey Patrick, do me a favor. Can you? We need you to check the Discord chat.
God, that's
Okay,
some-
hold on just a sec.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew you were buying it.
Did it.
Like I saw, like on the stream, it
I
showed
know.
you were playing Super
Good man.
Smash Bros. I was like, oh, he's buying it.
I hate you, Pat.
How dare you.
How dare I do my job?
If I extend your stuff.
Capcom, you checks in the mail.
You can access the pause screen and use Zero's attribute modifiers. Put like a fire check and pause your charge shots
Yeah.
and stuff to do fire damage. But yeah, we can go into that with the main game.
Yeah. It's just showing off. It's a fun little mode. They did say like they were inspired by like the like races you see at DGGQ and stuff like that. We're just like, I want to do something a little similar for the collection.
Frankly, like I'm never gonna get to those levels, but I'd love just like the face the world leader and just look at their screen and not even play. Just
Yeah,
to see
just
what
watch
they're
their
doing.
screen like, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah, it's just like because clearly they're like jumping over like every enemy because they know it's not worth their time. Killing only what is properly in the way.
Alright.
I'm definitely going to be using that save. I mean, so for 0-1, you recommend save assist over casual scenario?
Yes, absolutely. I
There's
would've-
no real reason
honestly,
to do a
probably
casual
for your
scenario
first
run.
For your first run, might not be a bad idea just to put save assist in general, just because it get kind of hard.
We're gonna be playing all of them. We're not gonna play a full stream. We're just
Yeah,
gonna
we're
show
not gonna
off
do
all
a
the games.
full playthrough of them. We're just showing them off and stuff.
I think
that
like
tonight.
the intro stage and maybe like one or two of the first stages for all of them.
Yeah.
Just
Sounds
get a
about
good
right.
feel of it.
Mhm. And then okay, once we get into the actual game, I'll show off some of the options that you have and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Capcom.
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 Probably going to be very casual, like, about this game because our main focus is turning at the moment, but alright.
Yeah.
But
And then just right into plot.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to like give the Zero series like a proper shot.
Hey, Jason, either way, it's Capcom. Either way.
Check out all this compressed Nakayama art.
Yeah. That is one thing I am saying, just because of like for the ZX stuff, like they went out of their way to do the uncompressed stuff. Would have maybe liked an option to like have some redrawn art or something like that, just because
Yeah.
in this collection, especially 0, 1, and 2, like some of the art can look really compressed.
Is that
Holy
blood?
shit! Holy shit! They just died.
That was.
Oh, I
totally
think I
not
have
blood.
the Japanese version turned
No,
on.
no. Actually, no. That was a oversight with the original Zero game, where in its
Oh.
opening cutscene, people still have blood splatters shooting.
Hey
out of
kids, want to see a dead
Oh.
body?
Because
Yeah.
everybody on screen except for Zero are human, right?
them. No, these are all the only. Everyone in here are robots except for Seal, the one woman character, because of course.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, everyone's a Reploid.
And where's
Yeah,
the
'cause
blood
this
coming
takes
from?
place.
Because we can
Like
talk about
1,000
humans,
years
but
after
we can talk
X?
about humans. We can never show humans.
This is 100 years after some event after X8.
Okay, yeah. Whenever the X series.
Well, you
Or
said
after X8, what do you know? Like, would it be after X5 or X6?
Well-
it was at the original, but then they kept making sequels.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of the problem.
I heard
Not my
myself.
lady.
I'm prepared
No.
myself. Yeah, but like the way that X6 is a Zero side, that Zero puts itself to sleep, and then X7 just like,
I mean,
what?
To be fair, that's never specified what time it takes place, so that could technically just be the end of the timeline that ending takes place. We don't know.
Yeah, but that will also require them to continue the X series.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
think we're gonna get an X9 at some point.
It's inevitable.
Yeah.
I feel like it's inevitable.
I don't know why the light glare on these. I think these are called Pandoras or something like
Yeah.
that.
What the heck is that?
I will
That
now
is a cyber
sacrifice
elf.
my life to bring back a robot.
Screw Milo.
Yeah, that's
though.
what
He
some
had-
of them
he
can
had
do
it
that.
I do also very much appreciate that they just brought back the Zero beam from Mega Man X1.
coming. Hey man, that's a
Uh,
classic.
Technically more X3. Like, well, the basic measures were in 1, but it wasn't until 3 where we got a proper track to it. All right.
Okay.
I'm Zero. I'm jumping. I'm
Also, I'm going to say turn around. Go back to where you came from.
Oh,
How necessary is grinding in this game?
If you want everything incredibly.
in Zero 1 in particular.
Oh, yeah. Hey, look, there's an item box on the ground.
How convenient.
That's the kind of stuff you have to do to find all those cyber elves. There's
Shit.
some that
Can't
are
even
mission
use half of
exclusive,
them.
which means if you miss them on your first time through, you have to wait till new game, plus to collect them later.
I'm probably not going to bother then.
Yep.
Yeah, Zero 1 definitely shows its age a lot compared
Mhm.
to the other ones.
And also, this is the Zero remix that is present in Smash Brothers.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Kind of just ripped straight out of it, and I kind of wish there was a proper remaster. Also,
Yeah.
you are actually supposed to protect Seal. She is taking damage.
No.
Oh, does she have like a health bar?
I don't know if there's a proper health bar, but you lose mission points for her taking damage.
Ah, come on.
This is one of like 2 escorts you do ever in this franchise.
You can turn off the filter. I mean, like the borders,
Oh.
right?
Yeah.
Actually,
yeah, you can.
let me show off the features that we have right now.
Mhm.
First off, you can load an autosave point if you have the mode on and stuff like that. If you need to go back to something, you can toggle the save assist on or off at any time.
This would actually be great for speedrunners, just for like practicing sections.
Yeah. You got the manual for layouts and stuff like that. You got your 4x3, then your original aspect ratio, higher aspect ratio. So like, it looks like this if you're technically pixel perfect.
If you're that kind of person.
Then this is what Type 2 looks like. So, just a little bit bigger. So, if you're playing in 720, this is probably the preferred one if you're playing in 1080p. Because technically, I think this one, Type 1, I don't think is technically the right resolution at 1080p. So, Type 2 if you're playing on that. And then, Type 4 is the cursed kind, which I hate.
Yeah,
I always hate how that looks, so...
it's never great.
These people also put the blended pixels as well along on top of that.
This is what the blurred pixels look like, and, yeah.
Oh,
No.
Like do it in full screen, like where it's stretched. I want to see how this looks.
Oh, God!
The combination, the unholy combination.
The worst combination possible. This is
Layers
HD
upon
gaming,
layers.
guys.
Ah.
This is peak perfection.
This is
I
rough.
feel like I'm looking at some sort of highly detailed Flash game.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna flash it.
And then this is what the CRT filter looks like, and I gotta say I'm not a fan of how this looks.
Yeah.
You may have a better eye for this than I do, but what's wrong with it?
Okay, it's not coming up on the stream very well. I think is the thing. I don't think the capture card is showing it as much, but on the TV you can see all the grain and stuff like that.
You just show it to I just go, it got slightly darker, but that's it.
But yeah, so then you have wallpapers for each game you can assign to each one. Completely out of order and stuff like that, but you know.
They're all in order. You just have
Yeah, and then you can turn that
2
on.
for each game.
You ever just
Yeah.
have ZX wallpaper while playing 01?
I would. I think ZX2 is actually a bit more pleasing just because it's just the 2 characters rather than a mess of characters.
Yeah.
I just have either way.
This one seems alright.
Oh.
Also, after this cutscene, I recommend you go into your pause menu.
Alright.
You want to check out controls because we're going to come up to a feature that's a bit interesting.
Okay, so yeah, about
So, how Zero works is that he effectively comes with 2 weapons at a time. You'll get your second weapon later, spoiler. And the default is they have you effectively always using one that button for your weapons, which is, in this case is the B button. And before they would have you like hold down an R or L or what have you and toggle it so you're using the sub weapon. As like you can't like actually use two weapons at the same time, but
Yeah.
you can charge both of them at the same time when you unlock that feature. And I don't really understand the appeal of that. I always like prefer doing Type B where they're separate buttons, and you just like, oh, I want to use the sub button, or sub weapon, I'll just click it.
That makes more sense.
Or you could do Type C where you switch between the weapons by pressing the button.
Like frankly, I'd rather just let me either use them both at the same time, or just let me do that switch thing. Yeah. Rather than like holding an extra button, especially because this is a Mega Man game after X, where you're going to be dashing all the damn time, which means you're starting to get a few too many fingers in the usage.
Yeah.
I also almost like her sarcastic, like, "Oh look, a dead end." All right, time for the boss.
Fantastic. Kill the robot.
Well, look, it's a giant boss in a Mega Man game. I bet he's pretty easy.
I mean, he only takes 1 damage from your Buster.
I only have 1 HP.
Yeah, so you gotta wait for a certain other weapon to show up.
Yep. Also, the boss theme playing right now is called Crash, and I really like it because it continues throughout the entire series. Every game's boss theme is called Crash 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Zero! Use this! Wait, does that just come out of the computer?
In 04,
don't question it.
in 04, the theme was just called Crash, Wrath of Cortex.
Yeah. Also, you did just damage Seal there. Good job.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
She is an active hitbox.
Oh, hey, even in that fight too? Why?
Yeah. You gotta protect her. Aim for the head.
Zero.
Pray, you idiot.
Zero, here, have a lightsaber. How'd you do that? Just use it. Don't ask questions.
I was borrowing
Technically, 03 kind of explains how that works. Not really.
This is some deep lore right here.
Nothing. Yeah, a lot of the boss themes have interesting names for the actual OST.
You ever just download Elf?
Yeah, the Elf is an entire other subsystem.
Huh.
But yeah, as Pat skipped over a lot of the things they have your mission goal, which is typically complete the stage, but if you have a side objective like, say, protecting Seal, then you lose points if you fail to keep up with the objective. You have the time, you have your damage, you have whether or not you used continues, whether or not you use the elves. This is very much, again, a character action game, but as a platformer in the way that they build their missions.
Retire you? You mean kill you?
Yeah. You can explore the base a little bit. Welcome to the Resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I was testing this out, hey, I had a little hard time trying to tell exactly what room I had to go to in here.
Yeah, that's your transporter that lets you go back to previous areas.
Alright, where's
your features?
Where's Silver? Where's Knuckles? Where's Amy?
Dead.
Yeah, good.
Oh, so this is a town like with Infinite One, eh?
Yeah. Looks like he's dabbing when he dashes.
Also, I am back with grapes.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's weird.
What's the grape?
Also, fun fact, all the characters here, I believe, are named after, like, French puns or some shit.
Not music puns?
Yeah, they went French for these games. It's weird. They go much harder on it in ZX.
Interesting. They ran out of music puns, it seems.
Also, if you press and hold the your attack button, you can now see that you can charge. And the lore reason is because you have the Z-Saber and you hook it into your other weapons to then give them more functions.
Seems legit.
Okay.
Yeah, you currently have your saber, and if you charge them both at the same time, you have the two different visuals, one for your primary and one for your secondary. In hard mode, you're not allowed to charge most of your weapons, so when you get good at this game, you're typically just taking advantage of your basic slashes.
How much of the Zero series is actually Keiji Inafune, and how much of it is everyone else?
I mean, I don't know how much he had a hand in the story. I'm sure he was pretty key with that, but I don't know. I don't know the actual breakdown for it. Also, hey, look at that little girl. She became important later.
So when Mega Man X5 was being made, they already planned to move on to like the Zero series at that point.
They were working. Yeah. but they shat out X6 without Inafune's knowledge or real permission. So he kind of had to course correct this while working with the new canon that was being introduced for X6.
When did X5 come out again?
Probably early.
2001.
2001. Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I think this came out like 2002.
So the GBA was already like, yeah, thing.
Mega Man X5 came out November 30th, 2000.
Huh.
Yeah,
All right.
so 2000.
So that would line up with the development time.
Also, this game does technically have a interconnected world. Like you can hoof it to a lot of areas where you will have your missions later.
To Ganon's castle we go.
But most people don't really interact with it because they're mostly just doing missions.
Okay, so we got
Where do I actually have to go to do new levels?
You have to go talk to Seal again.
Okay.
Start missions by talking to her.
X5 came out in Japan in 2000. North America got the game a few months later in February 2001, and Mega Man Zero came out in 2002.
And X6 was like less than a year after when X5 was released in Japan.
Yeah.
And it shows.
Yeah. I still don't like the game.
So yeah, Data Center is where Seal always hangs out.
Seal. Yeah, we talked.
I still remember one time I tried playing that game as like X without the cheat code. It was no.
You press up.
I'm pressing up fire. It's not...
Maybe go to the other side of the ladder.
Okay, gotta be
they
fair.
they expect the framing for the...
Okay.
Chill, you want to talk? Not really. Shoot, sir. Cut, sir. It's just, come on, Zero, you want a cat? Zero, put your weapons away. I just want a cat. Say hi to me.
Also, game overs do not end your game in this. If you restart from it, time technically does continue. It's kind of like X5, where if you fail a mission, you still used up time.
Huh.
And that plays into some later events that happen.
I thought you technically died.
Yeah. Zero's saber is technically his like strongest weapon.
Yeah, in the little that I've been playing, I mostly was using saber throughout.
Yeah, the biggest thing is that because it's not you're still learning a lot of enemy patterns, and a lot of them still take like one or like two hits, especially those stupid rolling balls that get me up all the time.
I'm doing fine.
Doing pretty good. Also, yeah, some of the ways you find the Cyber Elves is kill a certain number of this enemy during this mission. It's fun.
Sounds fun.
Also, there was another elf you could have gotten by jumping off the top of that building and having like a perfect long jump.
Oh, if it's for long jump, have that.
Yeah. Also, enemy respawn time is fucked.
Yeah, I'm learning that pretty hard right now.
Almost Castlevania-esque.
What's that? I'm off screen. I'm alive again. You never killed me.
Yeah. Also, the way this game works is that as you kill enemies, you level up your weapons. And for the charge shot, it means you can shoot more on screen before it causes you to stop, and then makes it faster for you to charge your stuff. Your Z Saber has the most expansive because, of course, it's your signature weapon. It's usually stuff like either you get the full 1-2-3 combo, as Pat showed off a little bit earlier ago. Yeah, you also get other things like his rolling slash and just faster charge times, as well as charging it in general.
Game over, yeah!
Theft56 asks, curious. I'll get the collection next month, but since the games were in a handout, do they look pixelated in TV?
Like they do look a little more pixely and stuff like that, but it's totally fine, and like they look great on portable mode on the Switch and stuff like that.
Oh no, Brandon, what do you want him to say?
No boy.
You better you put in the whatever it is. You better say you better ask for
Channel points.
Channel points, yeah. The mono coins.
I think you mean they are mono coins. I'm gonna call them Phoenix coins.
Phoenix coins. No, that's the subscriber badge.
Yeah, subscriber badges are.
So did that save your just if you can do a standing like slash? I think it's a 1-2. So yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Even, the save states absolutely are save states in that they don't save your entire.
Patrick, you typed it.
Brandon, he hasn't played V3 yet.
Hey, Himiko! What's in the fucking box?
I don't think you're supposed to read Himiko, Mr. Actor.
Pranks also has one.
Oh, no. Alright, the boss is like right up there.
Oh yeah, Himiko.
Also, this is one of the more unintentionally hard boss fights in the game because of how they set it up.
Oh, I don't like that.
It's rough for your first time, especially. Say hello to Aztec Falcon. Also, look at those jobbers.
I know the game is installed, which means I can take my Ethernet cable and use it on my laptop once more.
So, most enemies do work in a similar fashion where they have an opening where you can do a full hit combo if you have the full combo string. But when you're given enough time between hits, then it'll stop. Not too dissimilar to how Zero used to work. Yeah. Big thing with Aztec is mostly just learning the jump arcs for him.
Prankster put his message.
It is kind of unfortunate using the save states because you are effectively going back in time, therefore you have to rewatch cutscenes.
Yeah.
And in the in 0-1 specifically, you're not allowed to skip cutscenes until you've beaten the game once. Dang. You need to see everything first before they allow you to skip it, which is okay, but it's annoying even if you're starting a whole new file. That grounded pattern he was doing where he was shooting the laser bolts, you can actually dash underneath the low ones, allowing you to keep up an offensive while he's doing it.
Prankster put his message.
Sounds like Maverick talked to me!
Sounds like Maverick talked to me!
Not a chart shot. I still love that.
What are some of your favorite X lines? Just completely out of context.
Oh god.
The only one I remember
just takes it.
The only one I remember is just sounds like Maverick talked to me.
Just sounds like that's from Maverick Hunter.
Like outside of like the most famous quote for the X series.
Yeah.
What am I fighting for?
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, you got another one.
I'm disappointed in your colonel.
Oh my gosh.
Everyone's.
What do you think I'm doing?
Ask Nagito too.
What am I fighting for?
Where's the hope?
There's no hope for me to go on. Oh my gosh. Okay. This guy's pattern I don't like.
Yeah.
I've heard this.
He's a rushdown character, unfortunately, with a lot of lockdown. I think the big thing is when he's doing the wall shot, I think spacing yourself to the middle of the furthest and the middle one would do you the best, so you could just shoot him.
Yeah.
He's definitely built to punish overly defensive players.
Yeah.
Which is kind of rough, especially because you also have a time limit.
Yeah.
Anything you do.
Aztec Falcon, more like true Hangman Gambit.
War flashbacks.
Listen,
Yeah.
Calling someone improved Hangman's Gambit is the worst insult you could ever come up with. I'm sorry.
Yeah, especially with this Zero, you're always learning spacing, especially, which is pretty rough because a lot of enemies move fast and have large hitboxes.
Oh my gosh!
I wonder if this game would be easier if you had a bigger screen.
I'm sure the aspect ratio absolutely does a lot because it is very cramped, and this game especially, there's some stages where they just kind of throw shit at you.
I think I've seen some of that. Yeah.
Hashtag face bomb. Hashtag can't fail.
Hello, I am Aztec Falcon. I am the wall. What? This is only the second stage. I know.
It is time for you to die.
Welcome. Hello, Zero. Welcome to die.
You've been sleeping for a long time.
Oh, Patrick, I see what you mean.
This is your 5 a.m. Wake the fuck up,
I hate
bro.
myself to
Patrick, I turned on the CRT filter. I see it now.
Now you understand.
I'm not crazy.
He understands now.
Damn. Okay, but I am figuring out a pattern. I am
Yep.
figuring out the pattern. But yeah, you can see why the save assist is very, very useful for 0-1.
Play one of these collections with like the stretched screen with the blurred pixels, or play Phoenix Wright on iOS.
Oh, fuck.
Real stump there.
I actually have to think about that. That says a lot.
Wait, what was it?
Phoenix, either play one of these collections with the stretched screen and the blurred pixels, or play Phoenix Wright iOS.
Well, see, here's the thing. I have played Phoenix.
No,
on
the
iOS.
original trilogy.
I have played it on the iOS.
Oh. Okay. Don't go on answer, Pat.
I probably one of these collections.
I think about it a bit earlier, but I've been having questions from Ping, so I'll kind of just try to expand upon it as best I can. The core game's basically a development of the X games, definitely built more on like having your default kit. A lot of the mechanics are the same. You have your wall jump, you have your dash jump, and what have you. The big thing with how the mechanics work is for your core 0, you have your main weapon and your sub weapon, which we talked about a bit earlier with your versions of selecting it. How the actual mechanics in this game work, it's mostly built around the cyber elves, because that's really the biggest changes that they introduced. I could talk about some of the element systems and stuff like that, but I think we'll save that till after you've beaten Aztec, since he's technically the tutorial for it. But the big thing with cyber elves is that their in-canon properties is that they're able to manipulate reality, typically through machinery. And the way they work in this is like you have something like the nurse elves, which will give you properties like they might just give you a raw heal. They some of them will give you sub tanks, which is your only way to get them in this game. And the fact that they are basically like your Platinum Games items, where they say never use them, is kind of shit. They can also increase your maximum health, so they're a lot of like your physical upgrades.
Oh, Theffa, I know.
Ones. Yeah.
Theffa, I think I know what you're talking about, but like I don't know if that was actually. Because I don't think that was actually the ending for 0 and X6.
Yeah, I think they were again just trying to work with what they had with what.
Yeah, like
Nakane
we're
was
like
being
crap. We
told.
made another game, and Zero's back.
Made another game. Zero's back because he's marketable. Yeah.
We gotta do something to actually lean to X to the 0 series again.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. I was messing around with the control schemes to figure out what worked for me. And I just ended up putting like dash on the X and the shoot button on the right button.
Shoot boy on X.
God, this boss.
I always dash on the triggers.
Okay.
I mean, I'm fine with X on dash because that's how I play Cuphead.
Well, the one problem with this collection, one of the problems with this collection is that you can't map anything to the ZR or ZL button.
Yeah, that's still weird.
Which, on controller, that's not a big problem. Joy-Con, on the other hand.
Oh.
Like I was trying to change the button when I was in the menus because I was testing out some stuff. I was like, why can I not use my triggers? I'd rather use a trigger for my dashes.
Yikes.
But I guess going back to what I was talking about with the other elves types, you have the animals, which are mostly like actually like physical properties. Like some of them make Zero move faster, some of them remove obstacles, some of them just attack enemies on screen. And then you have the hacker elves, which are the ones that are literally like altering reality. Get back to you in a moment.
Skylar just dashing into you.
I wanna dash right into you.
Sorry for that interruption. Also, this is not casual mode. This is save assist mode, where you just get extra save points.
Yo, imagine instead of them giving you touch damage, what if you gave enemies touch damage? Why can't the world be on your side?
Oh my god!
Oh, what was it like? You get fraud detection.
And now they're gonna get crushed to death. Good job.
Oh, yeah, that's a bit of a command grab there.
Is that a desperation move? Or...
I think that's something he can do all the time. You just got unlucky.
Did they just really side B you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I just got Ridley side B. Yeah.
Damn. And now Jason's playing the game too.
I am.
Mission accomplished.
You got one, sucker.
Send this video to Capcom as proof that I am getting people to buy their product.
I did your job.
Ping
This
X
guy's certainly a wall.
how you get stronger in this game without using the elves, and I guess I'll just talk about it now since it's going to be a bit of a time until we beat this boss. But it's improving, so it's not like it's some bullshit. The way Zero gets better in this game, again, is one is the weapon level ups, where in this game and in X2, the more you use weapons, the more they get improved, typically by killing enemies. Your busters can get higher charge shot, they can charge faster, what have you. The Zero Saber can use more of his basic movesets from past games. Basically, he turns into his fighting game counterpart if you really want to think about it, which is funny considering that the Zero appeared as a crossover game with Tatsunoko? Yeah.
Tatsunoko versus Capcom.
I forget specifically, but it was one that was still fairly pixel based. Both this Zero
I think
and
it was the Namco versus Capcom one.
yeah, was it
probably.
Namco? Yeah, because I always just forget names. Also, fun fact: if you kill an enemy using the Z Saber, they literally get cut in half, including bosses.
Nice.
Yeah, this is we're seeing the element chip, and Zero's able to equip the one of three elements, which is fire, ice, and electricity. That is our magic's triangle. Don't question it.
I'm so scared. Look at me go. Look at me jitter.
The way you can use them is they mostly apply to your charge shot or your charge up attacks. So your ground slam for your saber, your full charge buster, and for other weapons, it's similar stuff. Yeah, this game is mostly like either using cyber elves to buff your base Zero, or you're using just the level ups via your use of weapons to improve your basic moveset. And then, of course, using the chip upgrades. And, of course, this you get your escape unit, so you can grind on levels.
Yeah, get that save point, and I think let's head over to 02 at this point to go show that off. Oh, wait, wrong one. Gotta exit. No. Alright.
02 has a pretty strong start. Unfortunately, it won't make no sense to anyone here because it is very much a sequel.
Yeah. Just for the sake of it, I'll show off what casual scenario looks like and put on the Japanese version for this one just to show them off.
Nice. Pat wants to spill some blood.
Blood.
I am the blood. Get ready for the storm. I am the storm.
Mm-hmm. The TLDR for the actual story we're gonna have for this that no one can read unless you can read Japanese. In which case, congratulations. Must have worked hard for it. Zero's been fighting. Literally, Zero's been going through fight forever. Like the end of X1 or 01 is Zero's in the middle of a kind of a wasteland, kind of like this. And it's like, hey, enemies are everywhere. It's like, all right, I guess I'm going to be fighting some enemies.
Yeah.
And then
Ping does. We aren't going to be playing them, at least for now. Tonight is just to showcase some of them.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, so.
Basically, the plot is like, Zero's doing the fighting that, like, X never really wanted to do. And just never gets to stop, unfortunately.
Shit.
And also, we get to have some cool-ass visuals.
Yeah.
Put a cloak on him just so he could show it off.
So if there's one complaint I have about the collection, it's that you gotta keep switching the control scheme for every game.
That was something that they had fixed in the original DS collection, which sucks. Also, look at your UI in the pause menus. It's actually damaged.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's a damaged version of your UI from the first game. Because this is Zero just like I don't know, a couple months after X or 01. He's been fighting forever. The joke was actually not a joke. And also, I love the track they have playing for this stage. It is so good.
Yeah.
And also, they give you a bit more appropriate enemies to make you feel good for using the saber and just dashing through the stage. Also, hey, look, a golem upgrade. Aim for the head. The patterns are simple, but it requires you to take some hits to figure out how they work.
Also, that is a big blood splatter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck! Whoops.
And also, the color scheme that Zero currently has is the proof that you're doing the casual mode.
Yeah, so you
It's
can't
also
cheat.
It's also relevant for the ultimate mode that is present in the base games, which is if you do certain conditions or do a certain button input, you get this casual mode style.
Yeah.
It's not as aggressive, but yeah, effectively they just gave you the casual mode without doing the inputs or beating the game. Because like with 01, in order to get this kind of Zero from base, you'd have to find all the cyber elves, make them all grow up, use them all, and then beat the game.
Ay, ay, ay.
Which means a lot of grind. And ironically enough, the way to farm them best was using one of the specific cyber elves. But the ultimate cyber elf you get later is only unlocked by beating the whole game without using a cyber elf. So ironically enough, you have to beat the game first by never using any of them, and then you beat the game again, having used all of them.
Seems a little backwards to me.
Yeah, you could tell they were still throwing down a lot of designs. Also, hey, look at this cool scorpion, I guess. And I forget if Crash 2 is playing right now, but it's a boss game, so I like it.
Well, Crash 2 can't be playing because we're playing Mega Man Zero.
Yep.
Did someone bring up Danganronpa again? God damn it!
Also, a fun fact is when you start this stage, there's a bunch of the enemy troops chasing after you. And you can just stand there and keep killing them, and then you'll keep getting comments from Zero saying, like, this is pointless, I'm bored.
Murder is boring.
So you wanna know why? So you wanna know why I found out?
What?
Yeah, after you reach the same point, you decide to go in and mess with your controls and then die. Then you go back to that same point. It switches back to the controls you had before you mess with them.
Also, hey, look, Aztec Falcon is back again already. Here to haunt your dreams.
You spoil sport. You prefer Danganronpa over Ace Attorney?
Hold on, who the fuck said that?
You deserve to die in the desert.
Also, that's Harpuya. He's kind of the most developed antagonist in this series.
This guy here?
The green one that was there.
Oh,
This
okay.
is Ellipso. He's a character for this game.
Did we switch to 02?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
His basic deal is that he was just a kind of a nobody in the Neo Arcadia, where X was keeping all humanity alive, since there was a 90% extinction of humanity before this games.
Which, you know...
On top of the whole crashing thing of that giant space place, destroying a bunch of
that helped
population.
lead into it, yeah.
Alright. That's pretty neat.
Even though there were barely any humans in the X series to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you don't want to show them to possibly be casualties.
A lot of humans fucking die in this series.
Yeah. Basic plot that's going on here is, hey, we should have an all-out assault. And he's like, we shouldn't have an all-out assault. That's stupid.
That's stupid.
How
We're all
about we
gonna die.
don't?
It's
How about
kinda
we
dumb.
not throw all our lives away?
Ping, no. This is not Chinese only. We're just playing the Japanese version right now just to show it off. Because when you kill people in this version, there's blood
When you
splatter.
kill, they die.
It was the rep place that was 90%.
They kill people, they die for real.
You die in the game, you die in real
That's
life.
Gamertron. Also, everyone's happy Zero's back.
Yay.
But not your Zero, though. You barely knew them. His laying down sprite looks kind of awkward. If I'm
So how many times
Yeah.
has Zero been resurrected in total?
A lot.
a lot.
Does he get resurrected in this series besides the beginning?
No.
Okay.
He's technically continued in ZX, but that's not really Zero.
Makes sense.
Well, X is
I have
also
enough-
X is also in that game, but it's
X
also
is
not
also
really
in this
X.
game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Through the Alpha Core.
By the way, is it all right to talk about spoilers?
We can be pretty flagrant with them, but
Yeah.
if people would prefer not, then we should respect those wishes. But this is a game from almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Wait, now let's see how I do with this boss.
Learn from Pat's mistakes. It's how you can be a condescending prick in YouTube comments.
Yeah.
You watch them do all the hard work, so then you could have an easy time when you do through it.
If you think that
Yeah.
was hard, just wait until you get into this part.
I do like how he like tries to put out a hand, like shake Zero's
Nope, I
hand. It's
died.
like I don't do handshakes.
Yeah.
Well, that does that. She's out here gaming.
Seal has her own goddamn room. I mean, she is the scientist for them, so you know.
Yeah.
The computer she has there is for a bunch of encyclopedia stuff. I forget if it was this game that introduced the card collector, similar to Mega Man and Base, where just find a bunch of enemy files that you can read up on. I know it's much heavy. I know whichever of these Zero games introduced it, they kept it going up into ZXA as well. Yeah, I think they do have some callbacks into the Sigma Wars in here.
Huh, cool. The lab. How's this guy? Oh, this guy's got a Godo mask.
Yeah, I think he gives you your weapons back.
I really appreciated this
Yeah.
this safe function.
Yeah.
So yeah, now you have 2 more weapons that you can equip.
Alright.
One of them you technically could have gotten in 0-1, but you have to do like 3 missions before you unlock it. One is Zero's boomerang shield, and in this one it is his chain rod, which is effectively a hook shot,
Okay.
Oh, that's
but
cool.
you don't really aim it.
Oh,
It
goddamn.
has mostly 360 degrees, but actually not, because this is a GBA game. But you can hook onto stuff, and you can bring enemies to you, and you can also use it to swing. Literally swing, because momentum does matter. Whereas the boomerang shield is, you can block any basic projectiles coming from your front, and you can throw it and just do a disc cutter. I think the first one, the snake, is probably the easiest one you could do.
Just to show off.
Yeah. If we really wanted to show off, I would actually pick the 3rd stage, because the boss has a cool feature to him, but his stage is a bit harder. I'll just talk about it. That stage is... He's based off of Phoenix, so I don't remember his specific name. Also, yeah, we can point out Hayleg, who you're about to go fight later in ZX. But the big thing with Phoenix is that he has a command grab where he pulls you up, and then you get attacked by the ghosts of Vile, Colonel, and Isle from X's 1, 3, and 5, and 4 specifically.
They have ghosts?
I mean, they're just holographic representations if you want to go in lore. You can't kill those, Pat. They're just obstacles.
Alright then.
Oh yeah, and it was Ballet, yeah. So the first 4 games that they had one of their unique bosses.
Oh god.
Yeah, 02 is when they started to just do more raw mission-based stuff. And just have the stage there for you to go through later. Yeah, those floating eye platforms are where you're supposed to learn how to use the
Ball jump?
hook shot, actually.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'll call it a hook shot just for the sake of naming conventions.
Yeah. Whatever works.
Called the chain rod, but hook shot works. Between... It's pretty finicky, which is why I kind of preferred the triple rod that they had in X1, which is just, I mean, it's just a rod. It can extend multiple times to do multiple hits, and you can also pogo jump like you're freaking Scrooge McDuck.
That's nice.
But only on enemies, so, you know. But still a fun time.
Oh, there's a time limit to this boss.
Yeah, there is.
That's the real hard part about Aztec Falcon, is that new players get pressured in because, like, time limit, well, I gotta go fast. Oh no, I'm making mistakes. I'm gonna be a bit less aggressive. Oh no, I'm running out of time.
Dang. Why is Fanboy and Chum Chum appearing a lot more on my timeline?
I know,
Because
that's weird.
Hey, even Stefan agreed.
Because you followed the right people.
More like I followed the wrong people.
Yeah.
It's not even on my timeline. I'm mostly seeing that you guys reposted on the meme, but still, I've seen more than nothing, therefore. Wall boss.
Seems pretty awkward.
I never knew you could jump out and slash at his face. I've always just used Buster.
Joe jumped up the thing.
Every day.
See, I'm still in that gunvolt mindset, so I'm definitely doing stuff like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, hey, I did it!
Knew you could. You could actually use the chain rod to move giant blocks like that one back there.
That guy would
You
just
could
straight
also,
cut it.
and like
The color
I
wise, still
believe,
three. It's a focus
Gamertron talked about earlier. Gamertron talked about earlier that you can literally scorpion people and just grab and bring people into you.
Nice.
They have enough stun when you do it. You press up to talk to people, and the side objective of this mission is to find and save people.
I like
And
how
think you
those
can,
enemies
light
don't just
up if you do
explode.
it.
You cut them and then they explode.
It's, if you kill them with a slashing weapon.
That's cool.
It's actually a feature that they then expand upon in the ZX games, where if you kill someone with a fully charged Buster shot, you also blow a hole in their body.
Damn.
Damn.
It looks really cool.
Yeah.
Like, they're very stylish finishes.
I love destroying robots.
And I think the big thing is because you start out with characters who don't use swords, so there's like, well, we want it to be satisfying for everyone, no matter what you're using.
Yeah. I got a blowing hole straight through their bodies.
And I don't, not just the hole, like, you take off like most of their torso and also like one of their arms half the time.
Dang.
And it's also in like the dramatic slow-mo where pieces of them are flying apart before they explode.
That's just Arbok.
Yeah.
Alright.
This is the Snake Man we could have had. If you wanted to be even more of a prick.
Dun, dun, dun. You start with a lot more HP in this game.
Well, it's also the casual mode.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Alright, then.
He's a fully decked out Zero.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm doing it just for Zero Two, just to show it off right away.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
But yeah,
That makes
as you can
sense.
see there, you can see him cut in half. It's real rad.
Yeah.
Or you could
Going to-
have, since I'm technically a couple seconds behind.
I'm going to cut you to death.
Also, we won't understand what's being said, but we will introduce a spoiler here. Hey, X.
Yo, what's
How
up,
you
fam?
doing?
What's up, fam?
Yo, what's up, fam?
I don't
X
have
is
a
a fairy
face. Somebody
now.
help me.
Excuse me, does it call Mega Man Zero? Get out of here, X. But I'm the Mega Man, the evil Zero. Why do you sound like Dr. Wily?
Why is he Dr. Fly?
Somebody has to be here when he's not here.
I become
No,
my father.
No one has to be that version of Dr. Light when he's not here.
I become a father.
Basically, X is having a multi-year long out-of-body experience.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
His
there is a
body may
reason
not
for it, but that's
be
a
with
spoiler.
him, but his soul is still alive. His essence.
I mean, his body's still alive. It's just under heavy lock and key in the middle of Neo Arcadia right now.
Oh, that's nice.
He is Pro Tycoon right now, actually.
Alright. So, now, we could go off to 03 at this point.
Listen, we can pull a Kingdom Hearts to get some replicas out in here.
You joke, but
Damn it.
all right. Mega Man 03, aka one of the best, and also the one where they were really hitting up the wall of technical limitations.
Like, this game's hella advanced for its time? GBA?
Mostly they had boss ideas that they just couldn't make work. The biggest thing is mostly actually the first boss you fight. Giving a plot summary of the past game.
Which we will skip for right now to
Yeah.
avoid spoilers.
I think you can skip it in this game. Yes.
We shall not
Yeah.
spoil this
Yeah.
game. Spoilers, you play as
Also,
Zero.
you get to see Seal wearing a pretty coat.
Yay, different outfits.
Because
The
she
only-
is technically human, right?
Yeah.
She is human, yes. She's
Okay.
kind of the only human you interact with until 04.
And is the human a bad guy?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's the human you? Are you the human?
Yeah, the human is the player.
Definitely
Actually,
not
wait.
human.
I'm wrong. The first one you interact with is in the second one you interact with is in this game, and it is a villain. The next non-villain human is in 4.
I was sort of right, dang it.
You were right, and that's what I had to think about. I was like, wait, I'm stupid.
Oh.
Hey, now you're forgetful.
Yes. Also, apparently she's developing an infinite energy system. That's neat.
As you do.
She's also like 15. She's like a child prodigy.
Excuse me.
prodigy or some shit.
Who is?
See
Oh, so
right
she's
there.
so she's an ultimate.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure at this current time she's not an adult, so she's like, I don't know, 18 or something. All I know is that she created a near perfect replica of of X when she was like 10.
I'm just now thinking of. I'm not just thinking.
Get dunked on light!
I'm not just thinking of that one Pro CD skit where he's like, what's it called? I'm like a. What's it called? I have killed thousands of people and I now serve as like a post office or something. 24? I'm 14. How the fuck she have a job?
Yeah, you can see the collectible chip there when he killed an enemy. That's typically how a lot of stuff works. You kill a lot of enemies and you get their chip. For bosses and mini bosses, you have to find them hidden throughout stages.
I still do the final base. Like, I'm just a baby girl. 0? I'm 1,000. Nope.
Again, didn't really talk about in the past game, but X2 introduced the concept of Zero able to learn moves similar to how he did from X4 onward, but only by beating a boss wall at a level A or S. And another feature of level A and S was that you would actually fight a harder version of the boss because they would have their desperation moves. But they're not really desperation moves because they use them all the fucking time. Except for the penultimate boss in X, and I keep wanting to say X, in 04, where he actually has, the first time you fight him, he's kind of your Virgil in that game. He has one desperation move, and then that desperation move becomes a standard, and then he gets a new desperation move for the final fight. Also, you get to see 2 bosses get wrecked off screen. And they are gone from this story for the entire story until like the final cutscene.
You forgot about me, huh?
Characters. Say hello to Omega. He is the first one of the technical limitations.
How come?
Well, you can kind of see it with the concept art that we looked through earlier, but like, you can see he has a sword behind him. He's supposed to be using that sword against you, and it was supposed to be kind of like he's fighting you as kind of like, think like Nello Angelo, actually. Now that I can actually talk about this.
I think he looks cool.
Yeah, his design is great. But like,
Yeah.
He's definitely very much like Nello Angelo in that he's kind of just a bigger version of you.
Yeah.
And like, he's
You
even
can even
using
see it in
Buster
his
to use
design
as
and
a
stuff
sword.
Like that, yeah.
But the actual limitations is because they wanted to make him so big, they couldn't actually give him enough sprite variations to have him move around. So they had to go with the limitation where only like his hands move around and he floats. And it also comes later where he has the second form, which basically it just looks like Omnimon from Digimon. It's kind of funny. And he's still just kind of another wall boss. He kind of just sits on the side and you just punch him.
Punch a wall.
That's a lie. You don't actually punch anyone in this game. That's for 0-4.
Oh, damn it.
I remember that the little bit I played on 0-4. It's just like you punch a lot of shit.
You can punch them and you can just rip their weapons right off their bodies.
Why don't Resident Evil
really-
characters
it's
ever
really
just
rad.
punch? Why don't Resident Evil characters ever just punch the zombies?
No one was smart enough until Chris. And I say smart with quotation marks because
Yeah. I've seen that you can punch zombies as Chris in Resident Evil 7.
yeah.
It looks cool as hell.
Mm-hmm. And then yeah, Arpuya. Arpuya's kind of a Vegeta when I think about it. Like, he's mostly a villain, but he's also just gonna job out to whatever Zero has to defeat later. Also, here's Dr. Vile.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? Oh, dang, he can fly.
Guy's head in a jar.
Hey, look at this obviously evil motherfucker.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
What
he
do you
wears
mean? I'm a nice guy. I just bought some cookies for some Girl Scouts down the street. Don't you believe me?
We're in the middle of the Arctic. also here's Copy X.
I mean, come on, global.
He
I
bought the
mean, look
gluten
out.
free toffee cookies.
I
Oh,
looked
also-
outside. We're 100 years in the future. Global warming exists. What Arctic?
This X has a speech impediment,
as he does.
which shows that it's just a cheap copy of a cheap copy.
Guys.
Basically, what happens when you clone a clone.
Yeah.
Let's see what I got on eBay.
I think X survived the transition to this art style a lot better because you still see a lot of what X had going on, whereas Zero just feels
Yeah.
like a completely different character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell.
I also like how there's a deeper sound effect to Omega teleporting.
Yeah, it definitely
Yeah.
feels like the Zero of this game is different than the Zero of the X series, which I know that the same character, just in like a different body. But this
Different
Zero,
art style, really.
it's
Yeah.
Huh.
Yes.
like, hi, I'm Zero. You may know me for Mega Man X. Wait, huh? You're the same Zero? Yes. Is there an
Maybe.
issue?
I have amnesia.
Don't you, Zero?
Not
Don't you
really
remember?
helping. Not really helping the anime comparisons.
Zero, what about the Zero virus? What virus?
Virtual Cosmo with red 3 people. Thank you.
Oh, nice.
Welcome
What's
to
your
the stream. I
hashtag?
hope you enjoy some Mega Man.
Yay.
It's fun.
Also, those operators in the back are basically your Ilas, except they don't talk as much, which is, coin flip depending.
Yeah, my Zero.
Hey man, I won't say no to more fighting games in more places.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
Zero is at level C.
I think the guy in the middle of that hall gives you some stuff.
Wasn't like a
I don't know
hashtag
if he gives you new
campaign for
weapons.
like Persona on Switch or something?
Something like that.
The fa. Since Johnny Young Bosch is Zero in Marvel vs. Capcom and Amnesia is prevalent, I'll refer to him as Hajime Hinata from here on forward.
I mean, like if you want,
Also, so this game you get the recoil rods, which are basically Tonfas, and you can use them to super jump. If you equip them, charge up, and then shoot them downward, since you can direct their angle, you can do the super jump.
Ah.
It's also one of your only two ways of doing a elemental charge shot when you do hard mode. because it's built around that kind of jumping stuff.
And then the other one?
And also, yeah, this is the game where they gave you your full moveset right away.
I like that more than my Buster.
He's
not
got a
gonna lie.
shield.
With that
Yeah.
charge shot.
Yep. And it is a deflect, and the shield does deflect all normal enemy bullets.
Nice.
That's cool.
This is pretty key for some real annoying elevator sections in all of the games, except for 4 because it's not in 4 because sad.
Rip.
Literally, because the shields you get in that game, you literally rip off of people's corpses.
Christ.
The freshly made corpses that you created.
Lovely.
Zero's a brutal motherfucker.
Jason, you still playing 01?
To me?
Yeah.
Yep.
No, the other Jason.
Oh, I killed them. They're going to be more. They're going to be
Any
more.
specific one we want to show off in particular?
You showed off chilled his stage when you did the quick mode, so I think we could do. Let's do Volcanion, the first one,
Alright.
or Blazing Blizzard. Call him Volcanion because I'm fire. This stage isn't bad, and also let's show off. I know some sections where it'll show off one of the core gimmicks of this game. Oh, right. I don't think we have any cyber elves yet. I think you can do it in your menu, though. If you pause the game and you go to the left menu to the elves, you can see one of their quality of lives for how to use elves in this game. Now you have the way of... First of all, you can access elves at any time. You haven't collected any, so you can't do anything with them.
Yeah.
But the big thing they introduced is the concept of satellite elves. So in the past games, you had the elves and they're effectively a one-use item, and the item would permanently affect your score. In this game, some elves, because they have like a passive effect or what have you, you can now equip them, and they'll use those passive effects, but they won't damage your score. But you can only choose 2.
Ah.
Jason, what are you laughing
You
at?
have like health drops. You could have like an option that shoots stuff at people, but what have you. And it's just a way to actually use the elves without being dumped.
Hey, look.
Remember the shield blocks normal projectiles, not bulky
not
stuff like
bombs.
those.
Okay.
Edie, to answer your question, hey, look, there's something down about this pit. Sweet, extra life. If there's something lower, dies. Well, I just wasted an extra life. Got the extra life.
That's a lot.
Duality of life. Not only did I discover that there are extra lives, I wasted it on that.
You ever just get an extra life, then immediately died from trying to get it?
Yeah, that happens in X5 all the time for me. I think it's 2 specific stages.
Hmm.
And also, because this is a volcano stage, it has fire come down. You should go through that door back there. There's a blue door Pat missed. But we can't really show off the aspect anyway, so I'll just... Well, if... I think you can go back to it, yeah. The power of delay, it sucks.
Whoa, what is this?
You entered cyberspace. Technically, you're more or less in the alternate world, but the big thing that really happens is that, for gameplay purposes, this causes all your cyber elves to activate without cost,
Oh.
including the ones that boost your health, the ones that damage or increase your movement speed, and all that. Of course, it's limited to the stage. You're now at the back of the start. The big thing with the doesn't actually like modify the stage all that much, but mostly just lets you effectively play on an easier section of the game.
Yeah.
Because again, it lets you use all your resources for a time. And there is a optional boss that you get to fight in one of the later stages by entering cyberspace.
Cool.
Because this is effectively also kind of acts as like a type of afterlife for characters. Because if they become like the cyber elves, and since the cyber elves' power became amplified by coming here, some of them are able to exist in a greater fashion.
Ah.
That's that deep lore.
I see Dialga not content with his win, so getting better.
Saying enough.
Unfortunately, the color scheme does kind of hide the fact that that is lava, so it is an instant kill.
Yeah. Messing up a lot.
Yeah, insanity, man. Inconveniently with 04, we won't actually have to do a proper mission stage because they give you kind of 2 or 3 tutorial stages to play through. Which is good because those bosses are a lot harder. Well, I guess I could explain that game's gimmick when we get to it, but we won't be able to properly show it off unless we play like 3 or 4 stages. And we will want to get to the ZX games.
Oh my gosh, that's a little tight on that one.
I guess I'll talk about some of the other things that they added with this game, which was greater levels of customizing your Zero, which he has his head chip, his body chip, and his leg chip on top of the same elemental chips that he had before, and as well as some new ones. And a lot of those are like, some of the head chips are like passive buffs that you get. Some are little things like it'll auto charge your current weapons. Some of them are you automatically regen health for like a pip every, I don't know, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. Also, if you see those giant white and orange boxes or whatever, you can actually push them aside using the Tonfa. That's an enemy you have to jump in front of to hit him. He's not going to turn around. The lake chips give you stuff such as you can... I don't think you can walk over spikes without damage. I think they kept that to a Cyber Elf because that would be busted. Some of them, like, they don't destroy breakable terrain when you walk on it. Some of them let you dash through enemies with an iframe.
Nice.
One of them gives you a double jump. And then if you beat the secret boss, or play the game on easy mode, you get the ultimate leg chip, which gives you all the best of all the leg chips, including the invincible dash and the double jump.
Nice.
Normally you'd have to say, oh, I want to use one or the other, so, you know, pick your, not so much pick your poison, but pick your
preferred.
Yeah. And then if you beat the game and beat that boss, it's like, okay, I'll just use them both. Which makes some boss patterns a lot easier. Yeah, it's hard to find the proper way to use the shield against melee enemies like that, because it does block them, but you can't, like, back up away from them. And then the body chips are stuff like, I think that's how that feeds into your elements, so like your fire, ice, and electricity. One of them gives you, I think you take less recoil, one of them less damage, and just stuff like
challenge room things.
This is kind of, it's forced, and I think, yeah, this is kind of just a challenge room that they kind of threw in there. It's kind of like the mini games that this game had, which was actually another thing where, as 02 had multiplayer stuff, this game had just a bunch of mini games that you unlock for beating certain modes at certain difficulties.
Dang, interesting that you're Captain America style.
A lot of them were based around different characters, like all the 4 Guardians. Like one of them is a kind of a tower defense-esque thing. Well, less tower defense and more Alien Invader, where you just protect fish on the floor from well, I'm misconstruing them, but stuff like that. One of them's just a platformer where you're Harpuya riding Aztec Falcon, and it looks super goofy because they didn't have actual sprites to work with it.
Are there any notable like Mega Man games that were stuck in Japan?
Kinda Wily Wars for a while, but
Wily Wars for a while.
I mean, that got in Europe, didn't it?
Can't really think of many Mega Man games that just never made it. I can think of some stuff that never got like properly localized, but yeah, we have Super Adventure Rockman. We had Battle Network 4.5 or whatever, which was a remake of the first game and also a cross promotion with Star Force. That
Alright.
never made it out of Japan. Actually, I think, yeah, because I think. No, it's not 4.5. 4.5 is another one where it's a style of game where you get to play as a bunch of different robot masters turned net navis and just have them as your main character. I remember like I think it was like sometime late last year, they finally got a fully functional patch for it with even some online versus mode for people to use with their emulators.
Interesting.
At least I think so. I know that's something that we figured out with how to do the multiplayer in Battle Network 6, but the way you get there, Pat, is you're supposed to find where that box was originally, you tonfa it, and then create the platform. So at this point, you're just killing yourself for nothing.
Where's that pogo?
Unless you had the double jump, but you're not getting that until the second half of the game.
So what do I gotta do now?
Just keep going forward. Take the ladder.
Okay.
Nope,
I've
and
been
hold
trying to
up.
get up this shaft.
Yeah, the ladder there, just gotta jump and hold up. It's rough, but it is possible. You could probably like slide down the wall below you, and
Yeah, that's why I've been trying to aim for that.
yeah.
What
Yeah,
do you call this?
it is unfortunately not a pogo stick in the vein of
Yoshi Mitsu or
Scrooge.
anything like that.
yeah.
What do you call those purple notification things on Twitter?
Purple on Twitter.
Whatever.
They're like the what's it called? It looks like a four pronged thing. It just shows like someone else's tweet or
Oh.
something like that.
Yeah, it's like whatever tweet a bunch of people you follow have been liking.
Because my
Yeah.
my ED Badir memes Twitter is like full of those notifications now.
Yeah.
Because I barely follow anybody.
The spinning top things are just kind of active hitboxes at all times, even if you hit them. It's kind of rude.
I feel like I'm just barely missing the platform a lot.
I do somewhat feel bad that I made you pick a lava stage first. Just means more instant death stuff everywhere. Fortunately, as you could see, some of the hitboxes, I wouldn't say so much lie, but are unclear. Yeah, those turrets really test your patience.
Yeah.
So, lore fact, the 8 main bosses you fight in this game are actually all of the judges of X's court in Neo Arcadia.
We will
And
judge you to death.
originally they are referred to as the 8 gentle judges, and they were exactly that. And then Vile came in and said, "Hey, I'm gonna do some modifications." And now they're
Hey,
all
you mind
fucking
if I change
assholes.
this up a bit?
And then Harpuga is like, "No." He's like, "Okay, Master X, is it okay?" And this not real X is like, "Yeah, sure, do it, whatever, I don't care."
Yeah, yeah, why not? Why not, fam? Sounds fun.
Yeah. A lot of X3 or god damn it. 03 actually had drama CDs dedicated to it that kind of expand on some of the story and stuff, including the Elf Wars, where this game focuses on, where it introduces Vile's crimes and why he was freaking exiled from humanity, as well as why yeah, as well as why
Wow.
Omega was kept in a space prison.
As you are.
Like that first stage you went through when you went from the ice onto the area. Yeah, that was a space prison that crash landed.
Wow.
After Copy X was killed the first time, and then the Dark Elf got loose, Vile was like, "All right, I guess now I'm gonna go bring back my fucking my heavyweight champion." So he went up to space, caused it to crash, and then Omega got to come out and was like, "Okay, I'm here again."
Hello.
I am here now.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
they
have an
really
idea
like,
what I gotta do now?
Dang, they taunt you after you die.
They call me a basic gamer. How dare you?
They just said I sucked at Mega Man Zero. I don't get it. One of them just says, I am a wall and you would deal with it.
this game actually has a risk style boss, and it's actually kind of an interesting way of doing it. His design is basically like you have the main dog head, and then he has the two smaller dogs that work as like shoulder pads that he can eject out, and then they jump at you.
Sounds kind of sick, not gonna lie.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. It's kind of easy boss because he kind of just... There's a lot of his stuff is pretty predictable. I say easy, but then again, I beat my head over it for years, so... Yeah, he's the one... He protects the giant elevator. I forget what its purpose is. maybe it's Seto Kaiba's space elevator, I don't know.
Yay, I did it.
Yeah, after spending an hour on a cupboard boss. Yeah, it was pretty easy.
Also, yeah, you cut off his tail. I forgot you can do that. Now his pattern is less complex until he grows it back.
Shit, not again.
Yeah, I feel like your base health is still tiny.
I think the
Mother.
base health might be the same, but enemies just do more damage. Or you're running into like enemies' attacks that are like the more damaging ones. I don't know. It's hard to say because especially since this is a boss and he's using a lot of his projectiles. I don't know like the raw numbers, but I'm sure his fire
I
stuff
was just
does
more
more.
referring to compared to other
X games and Mega Man
stuff
games
like
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. Well, again,
It
this
just
one
feels
is-
like your health is lower even than in the X series and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's definitely. Again, it's weird. Kind of with that similar mindset of like, we're building this game around like don't get hit, but most people are gonna get hit because they're new players.
Stefan,
Which is why
question.
you want to? Yes.
You continue with what you're saying first.
What I was gonna say is like they like designed the game around like you using the cyber elves as like your level ups and more or less crutches, but because the game actively kind of discourages you from doing it because of the ranking stuff, very much the get good mindset, unfortunately. It's what kind of makes the game a lot harder for a lot of people because they force themselves into the more difficult play style.
Yeah.
But also,
So-
Stefan, favorite series of Mega Man?
Series, it's a tie between Zero and Battle Network. I'd probably say Battle Network just above it.
Alright.
I'm starting to understand what makes 01 really grindy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is why people have a tough time.
I see you're trying to make some of those baby elves grow up.
Yeah, cause like I play so it's like, all right, so what makes this grindy besides having to level up your rank to get like the better moves? And then I just went over to the cyber elves. I just went, okay, I can feed them. I just went, hey, I got the cyber elf, 1,500 crystals. Oh, there it
And
is.
some of them need twice the amounts because they level up twice.
I need power now.
They need more power. Baby want power.
Baby need a lot of power.
And of course, it's also a self-defeating thing because it's like, oh yeah, I got it to all of its level ups. I don't want to use this because I don't want to affect my ranking.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin this now.
It's like the people who have like maximum currency in a character action game, which is mostly proof that they've put in the time, but it's still like, oh yeah, look at all that stuff they aren't using.
Yeah.
You ever just get like a really good item that just heals everything and all to cut everything, but like what's it called? You never use it because you don't know when the right time to use it would be.
Yeah.
Elixirs, anybody?
Elixirs.
Yep.
Me in every RPG with elixirs.
Funnily, the ultimate cyber elf you get in 01 gives you like perfect invulnerability for like 10 or 15 seconds.
It's the final battle.
I think it's even longer because I remember I used it. I was like, Why isn't it stopping?
Also, I'm now about the point where I had the spin attack,
Yeah. The aerial or the rolling?
the aerial one, where all you gotta do is hold down the button.
Mm-hmm. Funnily enough, in the original easy mode that you unlock for Zero, and I think most of these games have it, you can actually use fighting game inputs to do full charge stuff faster.
Nice.
It seems completely irrelevant unless you're like playing through the game and you're like trying to. I guess it would be useful for speedruns, because instead of having to hold down the button, you can like do an attack, and then just do a quick Hadouken input to do a charge shot.
Interesting.
They definitely, especially with the GBA Mega Man games, they were definitely like key on having like the fighting game inputs integrated into it, more so in Mega Man, because like there was always like a good like 5 or 6 chips that you got per game, where if you hold down the button and do a input that might as well be a fighting game input, especially because some of them feels like you're doing some fucking pretzel months and bullshit, and it changes how the chip functions.
That's cool.
Fortunately, I don't think we ever got anything quite on the nose of Magma Dragoon just literally being a robot Akuma.
Yeah.
I will say we don't need to beat this boss.
Yeah. But
I know we talked about like probably spending the most time on 03, but there's only so many talking points.
Yeah.
But you don't understand. I have gamer pride.
Oh dang! Now someone is live tweeting 999.
Edie, how do you find these people?
I don't know. I spread my interest in Ace Attorney to Twitter, and the rest followed.
okay, I think we're about done here.
Yeah.
I think we're good, Chief. We got 3 more games to go through.
Yeah. 2 of them are completely different styles, so.
Yep.
Mega Man, but it's a Metroidvania.
Well, first we got Mega Man 04.
Quattro.
04, the we need an ending.
Yeah.
Does it feel that way?
It's definitely the way it throws a lot of stuff at you. Definitely, even just the way the story works feels very different from what the rest of the games were. I mean, hell, you don't even like return to the
But
same
that doesn't necessarily
base
make it
anymore.
bad.
No, I wouldn't even call it a bad game. It's just very clearly we needed a new game for this. That's literally the design dog thing was we need to finish the series.
I do hear 4 is, like, pretty definitively, like, this is the last game in the
Oh yeah,
timeline.
no.
Huh?
It's a weird time.
Like there's a reason I say it's not actually 0 in ZX.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I got a new skill for my saber. I can now charge it.
My Buster Wolf.
So
Yeah.
say hello to one of the first couple humans we've been introduced to that aren't villains or Seal.
Yeah.
Oh my god, some good people.
And these are Vile's robots, not the same Neo-Arcadian
This
foot
bastard
soldiers
is
that
still
were
alive?
before.
God, his head is so big.
It's mostly the angle, yeah.
Wait, that bastard Vile is still alive?
Oh yeah, you finished 3 by defeating Omega and losing most of the Guardians and shit. But Vile still took over Neo-Arcadia, and these humans are escaping their Haven City to go into the Wastelands because shit's just that fucked.
Oh, we're going to Mad Max now.
Yeah, a little bit.
What is toss button for this game? What is that?
Toss is how you discard weapons that you stole from enemies using the Z knuckle.
Okay.
Oh yeah, 04's conclusion is marvelous. There's even actually a cool Easter egg present in one of the final levels.
Cool.
That's actually a callback to X1.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow. Huh.
The cool thing is that it's not like so much the stage itself, it's the music. It's a remix of Sigma 1 from X1.
Oh cool.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah, now I got it. Yes, I fed this elf, and now my climbing is quicker. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
It's actually
that
very
you
useful.
can't use.
How long are each of these games, by the way?
Again, I'd say like 2 or 3 hours.
Zero was probably
Two or 3 hours each.
Zero.
For like a proper like I mostly know what I'm doing run. Like I'd say maybe like probably 2 or 3.
Huh. That's
Zero
all-
one seems
I
like
think
the
for
longest
all-
game, but
for
you're gonna
most-
go out your way to do the grindings.
Yeah, I think for most of us here who would play these games, even myself included, I'd say it's more of like a 3 or 4. But yeah, they're not that long. It's mostly if you're interacting with a lot of the collectibles and stuff.
Neat. Surprisingly short.
Patrick, you're neat.
7 out of 10.
I don't know why they have a sand sub in this game, but yeah. Sometimes you just gotta make shit.
There's a boss.
Shoot the core.
Oh, okay.
Here's the map.
Yeah, you need to dash underneath those lasers.
Okay.
Because your dash does put you lower to the ground. I think that's always been the property in X games onward, but more prevalent in Zero just because of how much faster of a game it feels.
Yeah.
Probably.
Because right now I don't know what it is, but right now I am having more fun with Zero than I did the first few times I tried it.
I think
Probably getting used to
probably
it more.
a combination of maybe the save assist and just actually having us to talk to about.
Yeah. Also, I saw this post of unfortunate events. Finally, something that caters to my generation.
Yeah, you zoomer.
Thank you.
It's gonna be a weird tangent to take on, but because we're talking about generational stuff, like I follow Francis's art Twitter,
Yeah.
and he seems like hyper focused on like dissuading people from like waifuifying some of his female OCs. Like all the time he talks about like, okay, but this character is like from like the 50s. She's would be like in her 70s modern day. I'm like, you are hyper defensive, dude. I know we both exist on the internet, but come
This ain't gonna
on.
stop anything.
Please! I do not want to see porn of this! Please stop!
And like also like motherfucker, you drew a goth girl. I'm already into that.
Wait, hang on.
I find
So,
that-
If you
That's
didn't want
actually-
people to
that's-
be attracted of it, you wouldn't have drawn it attractive, okay?
And he's even like even more so like I didn't draw this character conventionally attractive. It's like motherfucker,
You're not helping!
you are trying so hard.
And you
I
random
appreciate you,
gamer?
man, but come on.
And they're a gamer?
wait, so what you use a cyber alpha doesn't come back?
It does not come back. It is dead.
Let's start.
They actually that is actually a way they teach you it via cutscene of with Passy of just like, oh no, I used my power, I'm gone.
I died now. Good day.
Do the powers stay with you, or is it only a one-time use?
Usually, if it's something that you had to level up before you could use, it is a permanent passive. Like the nurse elves will always increase your health just permanently.
That's
Hey,
cool.
look, it's Mary Jane from this PS4 Spider-Man.
Oh, nice.
She's literally a reporter.
Does she have stealth segments though?
How is
No,
Temmie today?
because you don't. I don't know.
I don't know.
Patrick?
Hmm?
How is Temmie today?
I think Debbie's doing fine.
Also, enjoy your.
What am I, a babysitter? Yes.
Jason was rooting for Tevin to lose when his match, the asshole.
Yeah.
Also, we get to appreciate some robot on human racism in this game.
Oh, nice.
yeah.
To be fair, like that's kind of like what the core of the story was, is that there's a huge energy shortage since, you know, like over 50% of the population on Earth got wiped out in a war.
Mm-hmm.
And the big blame was being put on all the Reploids for using up all the energy. And that's why the not prejudice copy of X was like, all right, we got to protect humans, therefore all Reploids have to go.
Just kill them all.
My entire kind must be wiped from this planet.
Resources are finite. We gotta do something.
Yeah. And that's why you get into this ragtag resistance base in the first game that's literally living in like a bunker. Because, they've been mass exterminating Reploids and just calling them Mavericks because, like, oh, they're opposed to humanity, therefore.
It's all basic logic.
They go pretty dark in this series.
Yeah.
It's time for you to.
They've definitely got sold pretty well with the first game, especially with the much rougher art style they used for the portraits.
Yeah.
Like, these are much more cleaned up, but in the first game, they were very rough.
So how do you feel about the tone of this series?
I like it. I think it's an appropriate change up.
That's cool.
Like, I don't need
the right amount of dark.
Yeah, like it's not so like explicit, but it definitely feels like a negative arc to then get better when it gets to the ZX games. Because that's kind of how it always was. Like, it was still pretty like positive when you're playing through the classic games, and then X brings it down a bit with like what they're going on, but it doesn't really hit much until they start to try and introduce their proper cutscenes with X4, which with limited results because of our presentation.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
And then it just takes the next natural step with it here. Like, I do think it kind of gets a little too unnecessary at times, but I do. Someone dropped something in the other room. I do like how they went. Yeah, April O'Neil's more appropriate. I just went Mary Jane because Tevi's doing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I think he's probably gonna finish the next session.
He's part of the We Do Network.
I do like how some of the characters in this game actually have multiple portraits. Mostly, I think it's mostly Seal, but like it definitely helps sell like more conversations.
Yeah.
Rather than just the same static face all the time.
Well, it also shows that the further they got along, they knew what, like, the better they understood the technology they were using, so they could get away with more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, bro.
Yep. I mean, hell, the final boss in this game is also a wall boss, but like, there's a lot going on with it.
Like, it is like interesting. It's like thing to look at the first set of games that came out for a console versus the games that came out near the end of the life cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you can go, they learned, they knew what they could get away with.
I mean, it's like a Kirby.
Yeah.
What was like one of the last major games released for the GameCube?
GameCube?
I know Mario
RE4.
7 was like a very late game. But...
RE4 was a pretty late one.
No, RE0 was a pretty late
Twilight
one.
Princess.
Yeah, Twilight Princess.
Where do I go for a mission?
I know you're gonna be heading to the human camp, so I think talk to Seal, see what she has to say. She might tell you to talk to everyone in the camp, so like hit up every door. Thankfully, the layout, because it's trailers, is a bit more useful. Also, yeah, there is another mechanic with the knuckle where you can actually hold up when you're jumping near bars, like at the top of this room, and you grab them. Very important for some of the later platforming sections. Because you have conveyor belts that are all surrounded by spikes.
Conveyor belts in the Mega Man game? Oh no.
I call them conveyor belts, but they're mostly like floating platforms.
Oh, okay.
Oh wow, an area called Area Zero. And it's a little on the nose.
So I get 6 for the small ones.
How can this be?
How can it be?
Can't believe this.
saved us.
Yeah.
He's not gonna get away.
Also,
with
yeah, yeah. Thanks for reminding me, Gamertron. Area 0 is actually where the Asuna landed after X5.
Ah.
So effectively, this place got trashed sooner than the rest of the Earth, and therefore it got to regrow a bit sooner.
Ah.
I like the parallax they got going on with this.
Yeah, with the light rays and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
it's a little too aggressive for me, but it definitely does it pretty good, and it doesn't stay for too long. Yeah, some of these enemies, like how the Z knuckle works, is that if you go up to an enemy when it's almost dead and you use the knuckle as the finishing blow, you'll steal a weapon off of them.
Yeah.
And for things like those shell enemies, you can just take their shield and just have that be your replacement boomerang shield. Like
I still remember
those wall enemies. If you steal their weapon, it's actually an angled cannon that you shoot. The way you're supposed to go up that is that there is a bar you can grab that's next to the wall. You press and hold up to grab onto it, and it'll pull you up.
Cool. Also,
No way of trying to force mechanics for you. Go ahead, Edie.
yeah, also yesterday, I remember like tweeting about like I was maybe interested in reading the IDW Sonic comics. Later, I get a DM from Jason saying in all caps, "So I heard you want to read IDW Sonic."
Hey man, listen, you put the call out on Twitter. I'll help you. I got this.
Fair enough.
I volunteer as tribute.
And that's again, it's real easy.
Alright.
It's called comicsology,
Alright.
which actually, fun fact for manga. And you want to buy like manga between like Kamigaji and Viz. Actually, Kamigaji is better because for some very odd reason, like Kamigaji has higher res pages of the manga than Viz. It is really weird. I don't know why that is, but it is it is.
Yeah, Pat. If you ever see a horizontal bar, it's typically something you can grab onto. And you do get an extra jump off of it when you do stuff like that, so
Cool.
mostly a reminder for when you do your when you do a proper playthrough of this, because yeah, it's necessary for a lot of jumping stuff. Also, I like to think this boss feels like a callback to X2's giant boss in the tutorial.
Yeah.
They definitely play around with this a lot more for early game bosses.
Actually, Pat, are you going to do a proper playthrough of this of the series or something?
Maybe at some point.
Right
I
now
don't
we
expect it
got
to be a
plug.
stream series, but you playing it on your own time. Similar to Jason finally giving it a proper go.
Either or. Yeah.
Yeah, whichever works.
See.
See what happens.
I have an excuse to be able to just talk about these games more. I'm always happy with that.
I'll probably get the selection later.
You could join. You could join the set of ED. Finally, someone else to play Investigation 2. I have a friend to talk about the game with now.
Finally. Cause God, I remember like last night I was like rewatching some of Investigations 2. I noticed something like I gotta tell someone. I can't tell anyone. Damn it!
Well, at least I know I have Pat here for when I'm learning new things about Bayonetta after waiting like
Yeah.
5+ years. I was like only a little bit into college when I bought my first version of Bayonetta, and I only now made it to chapter 4.
And now that I played Nier, I want more people to play Nier on top of that. It's a good game. It's a real
Yeah, I know my
good
friend.
game.
Apparently, Anime really likes that game a lot.
Shocking, someone who calls himself anime really likes me.
I know, right?
Yeah. No. So surprising.
Yeah, but you don't have to be an anime to like Nier. It's good. Maybe cry twice. One of the times we just keep reading.
I don't know where he's been finding these images though. Hold on.
I guess I'll talk about how the new gimmick gets introduced with this game, because I think after we beat this boss, we'll have a introduction and they'll introduce you to your 8 bosses you'll fight. But how it works in this game, where in the past games, you would fight enemies, and in order to get enemy skills, you'd have to beat the enemy while fighting them at an A or S rank, effectively saying you fought them at the hardest rank. So you've got to earn their weapon, which is a lot like how Zero stuff used to work in X4 onward, which is they'd be modifiers to his current kit. And they'd introduce stuff like his Shoryuken and his downward slash and stuff like that. Also, we get a literal boss lineup coming up here.
Oh, Theft, are you getting into Ace 24?
Oh boy.
Oh wait, should I go?
Look at that cockatrice.
I mean, the open mind is probably how you're gonna try and get the most enjoyment. So, all the best.
Also, this cutscene kind of implies that like this guy's like one of the easier boss fights. He's not, because he's a basilisk, therefore he can turn you into stone.
I posted this one image and Tebby just replied, "What the fuck? What the absolute fuck is going on in there?"
Yeah, in the past games, you'd have to fight the boss at an S or A rank in order to get their weapons and then modify your moveset. In this game, you have to go through the harder version of the stage via what's it called? Weather phenomenon, and then you fight the boss with their full moveset. So you no longer have to have like the super high rank in order to get new moves, but they do still expect you to fight the hardest version of the boss. Except now you have the caveat of the stage is also built to be much harder. Which is also another thing where you get to kind of control your difficulty, because you can play an easier version of the stage with the less intense weather conditions, or you do the harder version and get more rewards for it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Persona 5 R comes out in a month.
Also, Hatecraft, not Kernel.
It comes out this month, sir.
Yeah, this month. I mean, it's basically the end of the month, so it's basically a month.
Mm-hmm. Like, for example, that turtle there, he's a fire-themed boss, and one of his special things for his stage is if you do it with really hot weather, the volcano's much more active, and when you fight him, he has a fucking solar flare and a solar beam. And the solar beam is really hard to dodge.
Oh, was there another My Hero Academia movie or something?
Yeah, there is.
It came out recently.
Yeah, there is.
I've heard fun things about it.
I think Horikoshi had more involvement in this one than the second one, because a lot of the characters get to have
more in character.
They're more in character. They get to have moments, and because this movie's not canon, I think specifically for the end of this movie, Horikoshi said that he really wanted to do something with the ending that he can never do in his own manga. But it's like something similar that happened in the first movie.
So it's like we're aware this isn't canon to shit, so we get to have fun with it.
Well, actually, what I recently found out is apparently when it comes to filler arcs in anime, they tend to have higher ratings than
you're bouncing off of what they talked about with the Team 4-star thing, and they pointed out it was because it's new content, therefore people who are following the series generally read the manga, especially in Japan.
Yeah.
And when they see something whole new, it's like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm interested to see what they do with it.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to time skip again.
Right. Time skip another 100 years into the future with Mega Man ZX now.
There we go.
I know a little bit more about the ZX games than I do with the Zero series, and that mainly had to do with the fact that I really like the gameplay gimmick of the ZX games.
Yes. I feel like I want to like ZX Advent's gimmick more, but the way they did it is way too clunky because of how it works. It's effectively a continuation of what they did with Axel's gameplay ideas from 7 onward.
And also the way that they integrated the
male and female protagonist.
And also the way that they integrated the touchscreen in this collection, where you use the right stick
Yeah.
to
It's actually a pretty clever way of how they got the DS stuff to work in this.
Yeah, it's pretty clever.
the only thing is how do you confirm again with like clicking in on the sticks? Does that not work?
Yeah, I would assume it'd be L and R3.
R3. Yeah.
I guess I'll talk about stuff that Pat's giving over since he's discovered the power of skipping cutscenes. And he also realized like 10 o'clock for him, so he needs to get shit done. The big thing with this game that they introduced right off the bat is the fact that your protagonist, you can choose a male or female protagonist. In this game, it's more or less an aesthetics choice. Because the characters are written the same, they're just with some slightly different personality.
Are you a boy or a girl?
Yeah. What it gives you in game is two different sides of the lore. When you interact with some more plot important characters later on, for Vent, you'll hear more about some of the antagonists and stuff like that. Whereas in this one, they give you more like direct references to the fact that this is a sequel to the Zero series.
Yeah, like in ZX Advent, don't the fact that you pick between like the two characters to get the players actually matter more?
Yes, in ZX Advent, they actually are established different characters with drastically different personalities and also different relevances to the plot.
Because
when we get to that one, I'll talk about why one of them is actually one of my favorite Mega Man protagonists. Period.
Okay.
Hey, look, a Snack Boss. And like I believe Gamertron talked about before, if you look at the left stump, you see what appears to be some limbs and stuff in there. That is Olbeck, the boss from X2 that we fought, or 02 we fought.
Oh.
Just there as a throwback. Maybe this is in the same location. Who knows? Big thing with this boss is mostly just getting a full charge shot off at the height of your jump. Getting some shots in whenever he's crawling down.
Tebby's scared of T-posing Tom Nook.
I mean,
yes. Excellent.
He has the money and now he has the power. And going back to what JoJo said earlier, and I've talked about a couple times, yeah, ZX is a bit more of a Metroidvania, mostly in that they have their areas that are interconnected and they expect you to travel between them a lot. But each area is definitely built like a Mega Man stage, so they kind of got a mix of both worlds, and I don't know how much of a success you'd call it.
Well, the biggest thing against it is to be the fact that the maps in the maps in these games don't really do a good job of telling you what you specifically are.
And yeah, they give you like a general area locations, like you are in this place, and it doesn't really tell you how they interconnect. I always bring up a freaking fan-made map for this game.
And like the teleports that you do have in this game, I don't think are that fantastic either.
No, especially because they're built like typically for end of stages or sometimes a mid through a stage. Because how the works in this game is that a lot of your missions you do, they feed into each other, so you could like do a mission and then just continue with that same thread, I guess you could call it. So it gives a little bit more of a progression like that, because you could effectively fight like tier 2 bosses right after you fight a tier 1 boss.
So like as Metroidvania games, when you compare them to others, like these are like on like they're more like in the, I guess, like low mid.
Yeah, I'd say that's about accurate.
But I was
so
like,
basically the gimmick with these bio meadows that helped you become a Mega Man X is a scientist from the past basically recreated X-Zero and the Four Guardians in the form of these bio meadows that can combine with humans to Super Sentai level, or style I should say, to recreate the powers of the Guardian / X or Zero.
And I really like that gimmick just because with that excuse, humans in these games can actually like do something.
Mm-hmm. It's actually
just be on like
that because
on
they have a plot point earlier where effectively like they reached a singularity where the differences between humans and Reploids have become so blurred that the difference is effectively non-existent anymore. Reploids all have a determined age length, and all humans have some level of cybernetic technology applied. Also, since you're technically in a civilian zone, if you change back from being a Mega Man, some of these enemies won't attack you.
Nice.
The searcher Metars that you see there won't attack you. The enemies that come from the background and then jump into the foreground won't attack you because they're searching for threats. And you currently look like a Maverick / an aggressive Reploid.
Wait, Patrick, you choose a mission?
He's doing the plot mission, which is just keep... Well, actually, no, you didn't turn in the mission, so I think you're just kind of exploring right now.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, because there's supposed to be a boss around here, and I don't think you can get to it yet.
Yeah, because Gantron said, wait, go back to the room, you need to choose a mission.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to trigger missions in this game by going to teleporter pads.
Also, because the DS screen is bigger than the Game Boy screen, I noticed that that is bleeding out a little bit. Mm-hmm. Because the health bar isn't fully on. It's like fully on screen.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we see a little bit clipping on our end.
Yeah. But it's like it's 1021, so you don't really have to fix it if you don't want to.
Yeah. In terms of gameplay, going back to the choose your character's gender, there's actually some gameplay applications that are kind of just minor. Vent doesn't take as much knockback from taking damage, whereas Khalil can crawl faster in human form. Frankly, I typically choose Khalil because you can get an upgrade later that reduces knockback anyway, and when you are forced to do a crawling section, it's appreciated to make it go by a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Also, I do kind of like how this X is more or less like the upgraded version of X from like X3 with the double charge shots.
Yeah. It's a request, so
locate your boss, teacher, father, who the fuck knows.
We don't. You figure it out.
I mean, I know, but he's kind of all of the above.
Yes, yes, and no.
He's kind of your adopted father after your family was tragically and very anime-like killed in some Maverick raid.
Tragically anime-like.
It also happened at an amusement park for just added bonus. That actually comes up later, and it's actually a really cool moment of your character kind of experiencing PTSD from being back there again. Yeah, a good thing this game does have going on is that they will have characters having conversations whenever you enter where you're supposed to go. Only problem is sometimes trying to figure out where that is specifically because the maps are kind of non-existent. Like in your pause menu, you'll have a screen that shows you like, this is the world map. And it's like, okay, I can see these are interconnected at these points, but I don't understand how they interconnected.
What?
I don't know what happened.
That's your map?
Yep,
Yeah.
That's your map.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Oh.
I pull up fan maps for a reason. That's a button you can't press now. I'll save you the trouble.
There's a trash server up ahead. Choose locate grill. Then
He's
go
a couple
where-
seconds back. Yeah, we've already done it.
Okay. Getting risky memories flashback. Ritsky's Revenge.
Revenge, rather.
Yeah. That map was also not fun.
We found a random computer chip. Clearly, you can't just find them sitting around everywhere. Not like most things you run into are freaking robots.
What, you're a robot? Since when?
The series called Mega Man? Nah. Huh?
Mega Man. I am not a robot. Stop.
Also, if Pat switches between human and robot form, you can actually hear the voice clip of what they say when they do it. And because this is uses Japanese audio, whenever they Sentai up, they say rock on.
Yeah, nice.
Whereas in the English version, because they have to work with the Mega, they say Mega Merge.
That's acceptable.
It's acceptable. It's not nearly as cool as the Japanese version.
No, rock on. I'm sorry, rock on.
Rock on!
Yeah.
Rock on!
That's the real reason why I refuse to stop using the rock on joke whenever comes to Mega Man stuff, because they acknowledged it themselves. And hey man, I might not be the biggest Power Ranger fan, but I can appreciate Super Sentai nonsense. Why is my stream lagging? My connection must not be good.
1,200 crystals of 1,500. I'm almost there.
This is kind of a gimmick boss. I don't know if you fought this one before, Pat.
Well, no, I have not played up to this point yet.
Yeah. Yeah, the big thing is you need to blow up the platform when it's floating over them.
Okay.
I think a full charge shot will always destroy them, so that can be your number tracker. And
Yeah, it's
We still in ZX or?
yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll be moving to ZA. Advent in just a bit.
With
Okay.
voice acting.
Oh my god.
Yeah. The funniest thing is that the first time I ever played the game, it was the PAL version, so I didn't have the voice acting. And then when I finally played the US version, I was like, whoa, 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 everyone's talking, what the fuck, what the fuck?
I do recommend that we be quiet for a little bit, just so that people can hear how jank the voice acting is.
Hey, look, it's not Zero.
Yeah.
Also, they give some conflicting information, because in Allele's story, they imply that Jiro's been the wielder of the Model Z for like, I don't know, a year now or something like that. Whereas this, for Vent here, it implies that he just barely discovered the power. And with how, like, character relations are expanded in, like, especially Isle's story, Allele's, it feels like that's the canon one, where Jiro's always been a Mega Man.
Mega Man, Mega Man. I'm a Mega Man.
Alright, well, okay, so I think we'll stop there.
Also, we're currently in a throwback stage to the highway from X1.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. All right, now time for ZXA, and I'd recommend you choose Ash the girl this time.
How's that lock coming?
Is one of these canon or?
Not really. Like, the protagonist that you choose mirrors the protagonist from the other game. So, like, if you play as Gray, Allele will show up later, and if you play as Ash, then Vent will show up later. Gray does seem most canon, but I like everything about Ash a lot more.
All right, you guys.
Makes sense.
I know voice acting.
Yep.
You still don't see
There's
that
definitely
radar
gonna be
airship
booty
yet?
involved. And
We're
I know what I
getting
said.
jumpy.
I know what you said too.
Calm down. I'll go check on the mission now. The client is the illustrious coalition government Legion. Some top world leaders want the help of us, a lowly hunters guild. Do you know what
You can't stop me,
is?
Flash Tricker. I'm in the call.
Yeah, I heard that it's some kind of curse.
It's too late.
That eats human spirits.
I feel like this game
That's a
was in
good
desperate
one.
need of having
I bet
a
Legion has a huge
auto
They say that
play
biometal was
button.
found in
Auto
some
text?
ruins.
yeah, auto
Found by
continue.
those illegal hunters
You
I
can
who
definitely
belong
tell
to
they
the
read
guild.
each individual line of text and don't read it
Our
like
mission
past
is
that
to
Yeah,
kind of
nothing
thing.
flows.
biometal and bring it to Legion headquarters.
So now that your appetites have been wet for booty,
Oh my god.
let's get this show on the road.
Bruh.
It's this time.
I'm gonna
I'm
beat
gonna
Ash to
beat
the
Ash to
treasure.
the treasure.
By the way, where is she?
Everyone, calm down.
That
You're free to
voice,
say that, Flash
Ash,
Tricker.
is that
I
you?
don't
Where
entirely
are you?
agree. Trick Star.
It was getting kind of hot.
Don't
in
wanna be
there,
rude.
So I went outside to cool off. We've almost caught up to the Raider airship with the booty on it. I'm going to go ahead and.
Oh, they
meet our
actually had
booty
different
face
moves
to
between them?
face.
Some of their charge shots are different, have different properties. Their desperation move acts differently between
So,
them.
yeah, right here you can see the uncompressed video at work.
Mm,
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like really noticeable.
a little bit. Thank you for the follow.
Bing.
Makes you think of like Professor Layton, which also had like DS compressed animated cutscenes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think they got ported to other things like iOS where they look better. I think.
Yeah. Really, the big thing I like about Ash is that she's like such not a Mega Man protagonist, and that's kind of why I like her.
Yeah.
Ah, she has no fall damage. All right.
This is Ash. I've successfully docked for the airship.
Well, I think a Mega Man character
Time
has
to
never
find
had
out
fall
where the
damage.
booty is.
Oh man, that the booty is always in the lead airship. We always go in
That
from
case,
the
make
I don't know
Missing
why they decided to have it being
Guys, be
called
careful.
booty rather than just
I
treasure or
have
some
no
shit.
idea
Just say
why.
treasure.
Yeah.
This is the 4Kids stuff, all right.
Bad user, what do I need? 2,000 more crystals!
I will give you a flash that I do think
This is Ash.
Pandora's
Do you see any
interactions
mavericks on
with
the
Gray
radar?
are a lot better than and Prometheus's
Looks like
with
taking the
Ash.
to the biomet.
There's definitely a lot of
Yeah,
give and take between them. I just
Everyone,
generally
be
like
careful.
Ash just for having a female protagonist and one with such a drastically different personality from so many of our other heroes.
Yeah. Oh god! That's a moving platform.
Yep. I don't know why you exploded, like you're still a human. I guess that's some of that cybernetic
Yeah.
enhancements.
Yeah. That's just how it works in this world. You just explode either way.
Yeah. You stub your toe and you just explode. You're on that one last hit.
Jason now knows pain.
Yeah, 1,500 crystals. I evolved. I fed it.
Is that real? Ash's Japanese VA is the same VA for Ruko Matoi from fucking Kill la Kill.
Oh wow.
Oh, nice.
Definitely has the right personality for it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, definitely say these stages are effectively the same between Ash and Gray, but Ash's is we're attacking this ship because it has some cool shit, whereas Gray's is I woke up in an unknown lab and there's dead bodies everywhere. I need to get the fuck out of here. Gray's a much more mellow character and kind of for good reason, and I can definitely see what Flash appreciates with it. And I do appreciate a lot of it too. It definitely feeds well for the story.
Scott the Watch just tweeted, like, uploading a video, and it's titled, "This is 1 hour and 8 minutes long, and probably what you think it is." All right, then.
Also, GameTron found that for Dr. Vale's Foley voice clips from 04. Same Japanese VA as Dr. Robotnik.
What is up
From
with this like
SA2 specifically.
What is up with these chemical concoction memes?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but I kind of love them.
Finally, innocent gear.
Innocent Gear, that's probably my favorite one so far. That and Peace Control for Shadow.
By the way, Patrick, I watched that Tales Part 1 and 2 video of Shadow Run.
And Prometheus.
It's so good.
Hey, what did you just call me? You've got some nerve talking to me like that. You don't look like a...
I'm interested to go back on my own time and listen to these voice clips in this form, because all I remember is the hyper compressed stuff, and so everyone sounds bad.
Why don't you just go away?
It's still not good.
No.
Sorry, we can't do that.
Unfortunately, time cannot fix bad voice acting. Time can only make it funny. And is it funny?
Who the heck is this guy?
There's a lot of, oh yeah, this is happening kind of line raids.
Oh yeah!
This is happening. Also, apparently the writers for the modern Sonic games are no longer on board.
Oh, they
And I can the power of Mega Man.
Are you talking about the same writers that have been there since Sonic Colors?
I think so. Like they're saying they're no longer writing for the series. Interesting.
You know what, Gamertron, that is actually an accurate comparison. Pandora and Prometheus are absolutely Android 17 and 18.
Hey, you're awake.
The pipe dream is still in a flip.
They found you unconscious. Luckily, you were near Hunter's camp.
I guess you gotta.
Hey, you barely avoided getting slashed to shit by a scythe. Good work, I guess.
They're planning to take it by train to...
Well, yeah, that's obvious, Flash Trickster, but they do still have some of their own tragedy to them.
You're worried about... You should consider yourself lucky just to be alive. If you had that biometal, that Prometheus guy...
Stop saying booty.
Please stop.
Why did that need to be a localization change?
Oh, you're pathetic. I'll follow the train by myself if I have to. On top of being called
As
a
a
bug,
hunter, I'm always
there's
after the
no way
booty.
I'm going
Now,
to
hang
take
on.
that bounty.
Hold up.
Oh, brother.
Are you talking about the treasure? Yes.
Oh, brother.
If you want to go that bad, I won't try to stop you. Before you go, why don't you save your data just in case? There's a trans server next door.
Stefan, why did they add grinding to this game?
Because they thought that would be cool, I guess, or extend playtime, or they're just throwing shit against the wall. I don't know. There's a lot of neat character designs throughout this area that I kind of just forget exist. And yeah, there's your info gallery. And this game actually had an interesting idea where you could actually create teleportation and save points, but it cost you money. So like that item, that device you saw next to that woman inside this room, like that's one of those that they introduce you to. So this game actually encourages grinding for a different aspect, which is build your difficulty. And also, you know, how to get back to places.
The fuck did I just watch?
Yeah.
We almost there.
We're almost there, gamers.
Yeah, having that secret boss is pretty cool, Gamertron.
Finally, I've discovered Ace Attorney Twitter. Now I will understand.
I've been digging through the catacombs, but finally,
I found it.
I found it.
It's all nothing but Miles and Phoenix shipping.
Yeah. You can't create the warp point, but you get the save point anyway. Model A is cute. Model O is just rad.
Is that what's on the right there, or?
Hmm?
Is that what we're seeing in like the artwork on the right, or?
Oh no, those are models L and F.
Ah.
Those are some bosses you fight later on.
So, you're at.
This guy knows a lot about me. Well, now we don't
The
have to
blue
beat
one
around
is
the
a
bush.
little boy. The red one is a very aggressive chick who will punch your lights out.
Which is weird because in that case the art would lie to me.
Yeah, Japanese.
You're something else to want to carry
I actually
on
like
this
Atlas. I
mission.
just wish a lot of the characters in this game were more developed.
I was
At least a lot of the
found in
boss
hundreds as a
characters. I
little
feel like that's
girl,
definitely the
and
thing the
they
Zero
said that my
Onward series
time
had,
was
is that a lot of
taken
the
by Maverick, and that
recurring
I was the
characters don't
only-
actually get
so-
much
No.
developments, at least when they're not
Yeah.
I
protagonists.
shouldn't have asked that.
Are you the main character?
Okay.
No.
So, I
that's
decided
bad news
I
for
want
you.
my story to go down and people will
I mean,
remember
that's the in-lore
the
reason,
name
Gamertron. The other reason is
So,
because they
I
patched the boss
can't just
and
let
didn't make him a
Booty like
joke because of
Biometal pass me by.
lingering hurt boxes.
She's just like me. She does. I heard something. You can hear me?
Also, I know this isn't
that just now?
Axel's VA, but it's a nice comparable one.
Dang, Mavericks. They're going for the engine.
Oh my god, a normal soldier was able to hit an enemy.
This
Oh,
is it.
shit.
The biometal
And
model.
there's Prometheus and Pandora.
You again. You just don't give up, do you?
You didn't get to see it in the last game, but I like the improvement for Pandora's art between the last one and this one. I like that she has a little bit more personality to it rather than just the flat stoic face that she
You have
had.
to yank it from
Because that's definitely what they try to sell, but this game tries to humanize them a bit more.
way. Not like
They're still
this.
bastards, clearly, but
Hey, girl, if you don't want to die, do exactly what I tell you. We should be able to mega merge. I'll lend you my string. Who are you? I'm Biometal Model A. Now I want you to focus.
So this
Okay,
is supposed to be
yeah,
Axel, I'm
mega
guessing?
merge.
it is not Axel, it's Model A. Despite the fact that he looks and acts and plays exactly like Axel.
Look how clean these are.
Yeah, no, it's so weird.
Yeah. Yep, just full on Sentai.
Yep.
This feeling, this power.
That's probably taking it a bit too far, Gamertron.
What is it?
I am female Zero.
Biometal.
No,
Making
you
me
got Axel.
stronger. Mega Man power. Mega Man, Model A.
I can't believe the biometal
Whoa.
shows you. I've got to hand it to you. It looks
I
like
won't be
you
the kind of
got
asshole
what
to
it
say
takes
no,
to participate in
Gamertron,
this
but
little game.
I definitely
It
will
looks
not
like
agree
you.
with that.
It looks like you've got what it takes.
Isn't that kid?
I mean, that's the thing, it's like the most of just
No
like where
matter.
you're comparing
So,
clearly
Ash,
down the
you
line
can keep
stuff.
the Model
Yeah.
A for now. You've got a few more encounters with other Mega Men ahead of you. You must defeat them in battle. If you somehow manage to survive until
What's
the
the
end,
first
His name
name?
starts with an
then
A,
you'll know
it's
who
Model
you
A,
really
we're
are,
born to
and
be
perhaps
together.
all there is to
Wasn't
know
Professor- Wasn't
Oh
that
god,
Professor-
you're right, it is just Captain Kirk in it all.
is a game of destiny.
Wasn't the first landing game like ported to consoles?
Who I really
I'm-
am?
Or
Game of Destiny?
What was that?
What's that about?
wasn't like a Professor Layton game ported to
Oh, shoot. I
consoles
have to
or
help.
something?
Wait a minute. Shouldn't we be
I
getting
think it
out?
was a cell phone game that
Acting all
got
big
ported
and
to
bad
the
back there,
console.
and now you want to run?
Because I know that there was
To go help
I
them?
think it was like
But-
the latest Mystery Journey one. The
because there was a Professor Layton series that was on mobile.
Of course, you're
that had a different main character that I think that was related to Layton, but I don't remember.
Oh, the daughter one. Catch your later.
Yeah.
That Portaconsis, yeah.
Hey, look, Timmy's playing
So,
Smash
you
Brothers.
have your charge shots that can pierce enemies, and you actually also have your sub weapon, which is a lock-on.
Of course, you're my booty.
Or rather,
Alright.
an auto-lock. I think it's the same sub option. The one
Yeah,
you hold,
Tibia's
that's your desperation move with the cube.
Yeah, Tibia is
And
playing
that's
Smash.
caught in it when you do it. It just takes a shit ton of damage, and it costs your entire bar. It's not
Ooh.
that bad on normal on when you have a lower bar, but when you have a larger bar, then you have to wait the whole way for it to fill back up. It is, but yeah. I think Ash has a better lock on, and Gray has a better charge shot. I think that's the mechanics.
Yeah.
I think
Huh.
Tron and Flash can correct me.
Those little
Alright,
pod
time to
things are
fight your-
checkpoints, right?
Yeah. All right, time to fight your first boss, and also
I think this
go heavy
guy's-
on the stereotype.
Yeah.
Also, this guy's kind of hard.
Yeah. I just remember when I was sampling this game earlier. This guy kicked my ass. So
Yeah,
This man does not have proper English.
The big thing is mostly to get off the roof and get down inside. Because you're just kind of more just open target for him. Yeah, we try what we can, Flash, but there's only so much you can actually do. Yeah. Big thing with him is dashing underneath when he does his crossbow shots. Of course, you have to know your spacing so you don't hit the one that lands on the ground.
Well, Trickster, the big thing is, like, that's not something I can do on my end. That's all on Twitch end, and more partner thing and stuff like that.
Yeah. So the word is. Apparently someone is streaming Death and Taxes. Huh. I thought the same thing.
Depends on person, I suppose. I think you can skip these cutscenes in this game.
Hopefully.
Now, Stefan, correct? Did they fix the map issue in this game, or is it still just as bad?
It's a bit more clear, but it's not much better. You don't still really properly see the area, so it's still not great. Also, we actually saw a bit of it there. That flash of red you saw was you actually hitting his weak spot.
Oh, yeah, there's weak spots in this
Yeah.
game? What?
All right. That's actually was introduced in the original ZX game as well. I guess I might as well talk about this here, where every Pseudoroid boss has a weak point. And in ZX, that was because the biometals you use all your transformations later are sealed in the bosses you fight. And effectively, where the biometal is stored is their weak spot. Now in ZX, they have it actually as a way to modify your difficulty in that if you keep hitting the weak spot, the biometal you get rewarded with is actually damaged, therefore it's not as strong, and it has to cost you money to repair it later. So if you can beat the boss without ever hitting their weak spot, you get a better reward, but it's also a harder boss because you're doing less damage.
Yeah.
And it's a similar thing that they followed over into this, except now it's just kind of free damage unless you're doing the challenge runs for bosses, since every boss has 3 different side objectives you could complete. Like, for example, one of them is beat this boss only using a certain form, beat this boss only hitting this specific part of their body, and for one of the bosses later on, which is what I'm going to dub Grace and Glory, beat them both at the same time using various finishing moves. They are not Grace and Glory in that they are that hard, they are Grace and Glory in that you're fighting 2 enemies at the same time.
Yeah.
If I used the Grace and Glory comparison for enemies that are actually that difficult, they would have much less examples.
Oh my god.
No.
This guy.
Yeah. It's probably not that hard, but it definitely takes you a lot of time to learn it, especially because there's sometimes just kind of Twitch reactions you need to do for it.
Good thing we're on Twitch.
What is with these games having really hard first bosses?
Yeah, they really just say welcome to Earth.
Yeah.
Welcome to Earth.
It's time to vibe check you, sir.
I heard you're a Mega Man fan. Now hang on.
Yeah, with
think we're good at video
Buckfire a
games.
lot, you're effectively mostly aiming to dash underneath him whenever he does his super jump.
Yeah.
Since he, well, Gamertron's mostly Pat's unfamiliarity with this series.
Yeah.
You think we're good at video
Learning
games?
on the fly with having to listen to us talk to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, the safest thing with him is to always dash. Try to keep a good spacing so you can dash under him whenever he super jumps.
Yeah.
Because whether or not he killer bee / dive kicks into it is kind of irrelevant. He might sometimes eat some damage because of he doesn't go for the follow up, but it's usually safer to do it anyway. Giga Crash is a good option. That's more a matter of just knowing your spacings.
Alright, there we go.
Yep. Was it a full charge shot?
Our future. Our world.
Ah, boo. And this game especially really emphasizes the fucking blasting someone through with a charge shot. Now that we've killed him, we can introduce this game's main gameplay gimmick. In ZX, you would gain different forms that would have power sets similar to the Guardian bosses that you fought in throughout the Zero games. In this one, we take Axel's gimmick to the next level.
Yeah.
You are straight up the boss. And every character you play as will yell out A-Trans when trans. Kinda goofy, but it's fun. Also, the voice clips are actually different depending, well, or rather the spoken lines themselves are different depending on which protagonist you're playing as. Implying you are actually that person playing as this boss rather than just you are the boss. It's basically like Shazam, where it's just like, no, you're actually a kid controlling this larger bodied man.
But I had the wisdom of Solomon.
And I want to teach you of some of his moves. One of his big ones is yeah, Killer Bee. And of course the boomerangs.
Does he rap?
Probably not. Especially not now, he's dead.
But he has the 8-tailed beast in him.
Okay.
I also enjoyed Shazam. It was a fun, goofy superhero movie.
Yeah.
Pressing up while holding down the attack button.
That is
Yeah,
not the person that plays
Okay,
it.
there we go.
Yeah, they want to do the super jump.
For some odd reason, my brain just told me, yeah, Shazam played by Adam Sandler. Wait a minute.
Maybe they want you to get out of the stage by going back where you came. Yeah, they want you to break all the ceiling. So, break the lip on the... Yeah, this is not the most clear section. They want to tutorialize you, but it's not straightforward. Other tutorials are much better.
Huh.
Man, that was something else. Could
Did
that
you kill him?
always
1940, come on, I'm almost there.
Jason seems to be having a fun time grinding.
Yeah. No. Well, it's. I know there's a lot we don't to be that way. Anyway,
Because the Cyber Elf says she can help me deal more damage.
I can't believe.
Of course I want
wonder
that.
if you'd go- Okay. Why did
I had
you
to
have
feed her
to-
3,500 crystals.
I think after I actually finish Resident Evil 4, I'm curious to go back to 7 in Madhouse difficulty.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Come on, we're 1 year from my birth year. Come on. Come on, we can do this, my friend. Ah, 2004.
Jason learning the grind.
Like, I have heard of like some of the changes it has. Locking
That's
the
just bringing it back to the train platform so you can run through the stage. I think there's still enemies on it for some reason. And I think they want you to go back to Hunter Base or whatever.
750.
I think we're gonna call it.
Yeah, I think this is it.
Put you all the way back to before the boss, oof.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
I'm gonna call it dirt shit.
So,
Good display.
But-
A lot of reason for me to just keep talking.
but yeah, that is our look at Mega Man Zero ZX Legacy Collection. It's again available on every major platform right now. For $30. If you are interested, please go check
30
it
US
out.
dollars, we'll say that, because if you live in Canada, it's probably going to be a bit more expensive for you. Speaking of, hey, I can see Quarter Guy there.
Hey. But yeah, so if you're interested, check it out. I'll be getting my full review up within a week or two, depending on how much this gold wants to fight me. But yeah, thank you again, Capcom, for the review copy. And we will be starting Danganronpa V3 later on this week, Saturday.
Yeah.
See you then. Bye bye.
Game over!
Well,